The Three RoOs podcast.
All right, so everyone, this is episode 8 of the Three RoOs podcast. So we're getting close to the double digits at this point. We've had a lot of banter, and hopefully we can stay on track this time. But this episode, we're going to cover things like shift to digital currency, social media, porn being bad for you, and kind of compare and contrast of, I guess, when we grew up versus modern day, and kind of what, I guess, the newest generation has at their fingertips. So, Seth, you said over under for porn to come up, so I'm just gonna say it, porn.
I mean, you said it in the intro, man. You said it in the intro.
I did say it in the intro.
So,
Well, maybe let's not jump into that, but I guess why don't we start with
We start with how social media came about, and
yeah.
and we kind of hit it on the episode with Shawnee that I was looking at today, but I kind of think it started with AOL and AIM, right? And that was the first.
Rooms.
Yeah, well, that was kind of the first, experience. We were in our probably middle school, high school age when that was really big, and I think that's your first experience where you're having a social presence online. And I know I would always get on after school or when every time I was home, I'd sign into AOL dial up, and it would make that sound, and then you'd always be talking with people on there. And I think that's kind of what led to the social media revolution.
I think that was the first big one where you could talk to people you knew and saw regularly, but you didn't have to see them. So, like Rich, you mentioned chat rooms, but chat rooms were just a bunch of random people, right? Like online games. I remember I used to play like Yahoo Chess, and like you'd be talking to someone, but you'd never met them before or anything. AIM was like the first, these were people you saw on a regular basis. This is people you talked to daily.
Yeah.
And then you just would go home and also talk to them. So
Yeah. You'd have your crushes, and you have these like somewhat cryptic messages.
You have your profile info, and and there'd be like songs in there, and the cryptic messages was like, are they talking about me? I don't know who are they talking about.
Yeah.
Or they're away messages.
Remember the songs, like whenever you would send a message or whenever you would get on, you'd have like your unique one, but like people would have. I had that one song, the United States or whatever. So whenever I sign on, I'd be like, whatever, and like whenever I would send a message, there was like, I remember the Rolling Stones, like that. There was that one. There's so many, but I remember that was like a personal touch. Seth, you said chat rooms, and I guess I said chat rooms too, but you said a couple things I want to touch on. First off, chess online was a lot of fun.
dude, that was so much fun growing
It
up.
was so much fun. Do you remember, like, did you play, what was it called, Slingo? Or they had all those games on AOL.
Oh my God. They were all on AOL, and they were all on Yahoo, depending on, that was back when like you had to pick your like type of browser. Like, yeah, you were a Yahoo style browser or a AOL.
Yes.
Like if you had AOL internet, you had to use the AOL browser. So that was like the You Got Mail, but they had like their own style of gaming.
Yeah. Remember Ask Jeeves?
Oh, yeah.
It was like the butler guy. But chat rooms. I remember I was part of I was going to this like NHL chat room. I was like 10 or maybe like 9. And I was going to this NHL chat room. This was probably like 96, 97. And I remember, like, I don't know how it happened. I made friends with this. I was like 8, 9, 10, whatever it was. And I made friends with this like 19-year-old girl from Buffalo. She was like a Buffalo Sabres fan. I have no idea like how we started talking, like what made us say like, hey, let's like take us to a separate conversation or anything like that. And it was literally, first of all, if it actually was a 19-year-old girl, which
I was
is,
gonna say, dude,
in hindsight,
you were talking to a 45-year-old dude.
The first
dude,
incident
Chris
of
Harrison has to come
catfishing
save me. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But like it must have been the most boring conversation with me because I was like a dumb little kid, and I literally was just talking about hockey, and I would just talk shit. I was a Devils fan, they were a Buffalo Sabres fan, and and that's probably how we like started talking, was that they were just talking shit to me, or I was talking shit to them, or replying and stuff like that. But then like years later, I was like, yeah, I was part of a chat room, and I remember there's like this like one girl who was like 19 that was friends with me, and somebody goes, that was not a girl. Like talking to you. And it
first
never like
impression-
struck me until then.
My first impression when you just said that, I was like, yeah, you were not talking to a 19-year-old girl, dude.
Ain't no way.
Just
Ain't no way.
And I literally was like I said, like 8, 9, 10, like unsupervised. Just
That's because the 90s was awesome and you didn't have to be supervised to do things.
It's true. It was a very different world. We got
The internet
digital
probably
cameras.
wasn't as dangerous back then.
No, it wasn't that.
Less options to get in trouble.
Yeah, that's true.
Well,
That's
I
true.
also feel like because of the newness of it all, like people hadn't figured out how to crack it and use it
I could
for
be a
bad.
successful pedophile. On
Right,
this thing. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
All right. So I guess what was the next step after AIM and chat rooms like that? Was it MySpace? Yeah.
MySpace. That I can remember.
Which is funny because MySpace didn't even start as like a person to person. MySpace started for small bands and small groups to get their name out there.
Did
It
it?
was not a person based thing. It was for groups. It was for like bands and stuff. And then all of a sudden people were just able to do it.
Yeah.
But
That was
I
like
think I was a coder. 'Cause I used to,
freshman,
like,
sophomore year of high school?
yeah, I was like sophomore
Like
for me.
05, 06?
05-ish, because yeah, it made everybody feel like they were a coder because you could copy
Yeah.
and paste a code into one line
You
and
get that song on your profile.
got that song, you got that cool background.
Yeah, yeah. If it said like red, you go in there and change it to blue. Next thing you know, it's all blue in the background.
You're like, oh my God, I did it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I had Juvenile Slow Motion for me as my I don't know
That
if you guys
does
know
not
this.
surprise me.
Yeah,
at all.
that's my song.
I think I had a Rich, don't get mad at me. It was a country song. I think I had a country song on there. I'm just trying to remember what one it was.
Well, back then it wasn't just pop sung
Probably some
by
like
somebody with a
Garth
southern
Brooks
accent, so it's
or
probably
Tim
good.
McGraw or
No, it was oh my God, I can see the guy. He's the little Australian dude. Why can't I think of his name?
Keith Urban.
Keith Urban. There we go.
yeah.
Jesus Christ. That was yeah.
I was thinking
That
about
guy
Billy
can
Gilman.
shred, by the way, on the guitar. That guy's such a good guitar player.
So then I guess after MySpace it went to Facebook, and I think I was on
Went to
Facebook
Facebook.
in like 07 or something like that. If I
Yeah, we were
remember.
we were like the first band of kids who didn't need college IDs, like college
Yep.
logins.
Yep. And it was very basic back then, right? You can just like poke people and like write on people's walls. I think was
Yeah, and it was like emotions, right?
That
It
was
like,
even
I'm
before-
feeling sad. I'm
Yeah,
feeling
you
happy.
you couldn't even
yeah,
write
yeah.
a status yet.
Yeah.
It was I'm feeling. That's right.
It's where it should have
That's
stayed,
right.
man. It's where it should have stayed. I remember MySpace I got into. My first song was an OK Go song. And I think the reason I did it was because there was like a girl that I had a crush on that liked OK Go or something like that, right? So kind of going back to the AOL thing.
Was she in your top 8 or top 4? What did it start as? Top 4
no, I
and
think
then
it
went
was-
to top 8?
I think it was
I just
top
remember being
8.
top 8. Yeah, dude, I was a nerd, dude. My sisters were my first 2, and I think my cousin was like my
Nerd.
3rd.
You said
Yeah,
that in
I
an
was like
episode
I
with
was like a
Shawnee
nerd.
that I was listening to today, and I laughed when I heard you
Yeah,
say
that was pretty
it.
funny.
such
It
a
was-
such a virgin move right there. Yeah, I was such a nerd. But and then I remember junior year, everyone was like going to my or Facebook, and they're like, "You gotta do Facebook, you gotta do Facebook," and I was reluctant because I liked MySpace. I don't know. I had like a Manchester United background, and I had like whatever song I had. I think I had like Godsmack at one point. I Stand Alone. Like I had a
It's a great
weird
song.
eclectic.
Yeah, some good songs.
It is a good song.
Great
That
song.
shit still pumps me up. But I had this weird eclectic like the backgrounds and like the music I was into made no sense together. The background sometimes made no
What was
sense.
what was your profile picture? Was it you in a Lax jersey?
No, dude, it was holy shit. That was the first, the first Facebook one. No, it was, dude. I remember for the longest time, it was like a joke, but I actually put it up there. It was me in front of our Christmas tree. In my dad's like, he had his like dress greens or whatever you call it in the Marine Corps, and I had my hand in the like the one between like 2 buttons like Napoleon. So
Mhm.
it was supposed to be like me looking like Napoleon, like in front of a Christmas tree, which I was probably a little too old. Again, nerd, dude. I was probably a little too old to like, I was like 14, 15. But yeah, I thought it was funny. I also thought the screen name that I had, Wiener Schnitzel, was like the funniest thing. I also had like
Yeah.
the Dominator DMX. I had these weird ones because we were how young then.
Dude,
but,
I was gonna say we all did weird things. Again, I was obsessed with Limp Bizkit, had red
Oh, yeah,
Yankees
man.
hats. So
Have,
I mean,
have you ever gone back and looked at like your old Facebook photos in the last like few years?
I got rid of it.
I was gonna say I haven't had Facebook since 2019, 2018.
Gotcha. I think I still have mine. I log in like once every few months, and don't think I can actually log in on my phone for some reason, but I looked at them a while back, and man, that shit is funny. That shit is
Do you still have all the
comedy.
fro pictures and the cornrows and all those?
And the ponytail and everything. Yeah, it was a different era, that's for sure.
I mean, listen, all I can remember from back when I had it was looking back and seeing the progression of my facial hair and being like, what? What? What were you thinking?
Well, dude,
Uh,
there was those years where I was like a straight up. Remember, I had like Italy jerseys on and the cubic zirconium earrings, and like
Yeah,
I
so
had
like last
the
week. Yeah.
sunglasses that that's it, the sunglasses that were like one. Basically, it was like
Yeah,
one
I remember
lens.
you had the faux hawk in that one,
The
didn't
faux
you?
hawk, yeah. What was it? Got to be glued hairspray or whatever. That shit. So much of that. Yeah. So like, yeah, I remember I did look back. Actually, before I got rid of Facebook, I did pull a bunch of pictures just from like kind of growing up, my family and stuff like that. Probably some of us like we went to that one parade in New York City. Dude, you remember that one parade? And that one guy that was like literally 7 foot
the
5.
massive Yankees jersey guy. He had a
Yeah. Oh,
Yankees jersey
I
on,
think I
right?
had the Yankees jersey
Oh,
on,
okay.
but he maybe he did too. But he was fucking. His hand was as big as my head. Remember, it was
Uh-huh.
just huge. I think I have that. So yeah, I pulled some stuff, but I got rid of it because Facebook and Instagram. I got rid of both. They were toxic. Like both Facebook, it was books about how you should vote, how to be a good person. If you don't do this, you're a bad person. I was like, I don't want to deal with this bullshit.
Well,
Plus,
I guess we can get into how it's bad or good, but so I guess after Facebook it was like Instagram and Snapchat, right? And then now we're kind of in the new
Everything.
the era of TikTok
Twitter was
and
be I think Twitter was
oh
before
yeah,
Instagram.
Twitter was still around.
Because
I think
I think I had my Twitter in like 2009,
Yeah,
2010
we were
maybe.
at Hofstra, I think it came out, or
Yeah,
was
and I
right
didn't get
before
an
yeah.
that.
Instagram until after we graduated.
I didn't get an Instagram till like a year ago or less.
That's right. Yeah, you didn't have it for a long time. Yeah,
But
I had both. I had both starting in college.
did you guys download the Threads yet?
I
No.
have it, but I do not follow it at all.
Yeah, I fucked around with it a little bit, but it's like it's like uh
I know what you're
undoxed
thinking, Rich.
Twitter. What were you gonna say?
The topics when we were like, what should we talk about tonight?
I know exactly what Rich is thinking right now. He's
What
just like
Elon versus?
you said thread and he was just like
The like just conspiracy theories, which
Okay, oh yeah, I
we
forgot the
should
one
go
I
into.
came up with.
Yeah,
Okay, but so back to how social media is a bad or good thing, right? I feel like as long as like on things like Twitter or TikTok or Instagram, you curate your feeds and who you follow, I feel like they're not bad. And then if you only use them um, as tools for yourself to get better at things, right? So for me, again, I didn't get onto like TikTok or Instagram until like a year ago, but basically what I've just been posting all stuff about running and only following people that do things with running and posting. I post at every run every day, and I feel like that just helps me with accountability. It's helped me significantly.
are you still doing it?
Yeah, every day.
every
Really?
day. I like
Um,
almost every single one of them. Some days I miss it because I don't check my Instagram every day, but
yeah, some
I
days
like
I
What's
forget.
almost
your what are your handles?
Uh, Something like at Ty runs 5, something like that.
Okay.
Um, but
TY.
set the kiss, bro. Set the kiss, as always.
so I do TikTok every day. Sometimes I forget to post on Instagram and YouTube Shorts, but I feel like, but I'm not like scrolling, death scrolling every day or doom scrolling every
Doom
day.
scrolling, yeah.
I go on, I post my video, and while it's uploading, I scroll real fast for a couple minutes, click some videos, see if any of my friends post anything on any of them, and then I'm off.
I
Yeah,
think I
that's
think
that's key.
Yeah.
well, I think it's like it's all in. First of all, like let's start off with the fact that there should be age restrictions on both sides, but more more there should be like
You
more there
like
should be
that,
like child age restrictions on it because one of the real big negatives is it gives people the ability to do things without having to do it in front of people, right? So like there's just big issues right now with cyberbullying, just horrible issues. And
yeah,
it's things
yeah,
that go unmonitored because teachers aren't going to look at it, parents aren't going to look at it because who's going to be friends with their parents, right?
Mm.
So that's the big negative I see in it. As far as people our age, just be an intelligent individual. Like, let's face it, people people are one of a few different types on social media. They only post the fluffy, nice, pretty things. And so people will look at them and be like, man, I wish I had that life. No, they're just not showing you their whole life.
Yeah, that's the bad part about social media.
Exactly. The
And
keeping up with the
fucks with
Joneses, right?
fucks with people's head.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
one of the bad
Then
things.
you get the people who have to tell you absolutely every single part of your day, and you're just like, I don't care. Stop.
Yeah.
And then you
yeah.
get the people who are like, need my social media break, but they have to tell everybody they're going on a social media break. Like it can be very good. I get all my sports information on it. I get, I really don't do news from it because we've talked about that. That's a whole nother episode. But I get my sports mostly from it. I follow all my podcasts on it. And then like I keep up with some friends that I don't talk to or see all the time. And that's that's what you're trying to do, then you're great. But the people who literally like and follow everything and are in every neighborhood group and are constantly posting in the mom chats and things like that, like, yeah, it's terrible. It's terrible because you're not held accountable, right? No one is going to look at you and bring a computer to your face and go, this is what you posted and it was wrong.
Right.
So
When it becomes an addiction, I also feel like it gets bad.
Well,
Right.
yeah, but I think that's
right,
like
It's probably most people.
to me that's like a generational thing too, though. Yeah, I mean,
dude. And it's not even, the sad thing is it's not even our generation. I literally, when my mom comes to visit, I'll look at her and be like, what are you doing on your phone right now? Like, hi, we're all like, when she came to town for my kid's first birthday, and like my sister was there, I was there, my uncle, like the people that she actually knows were there, and she's still just on her phone. I'm like, Mom, what are you doing? Like,
yeah,
what are you doing? All the people you know are literally within 50 feet, along with a ton of other people who you could go talk to. And she's like, well, I'm just checking some stuff. Okay, cool.
I think it is
yeah.
our
It's like,
generation too, though.
well, the younger generation though,
Definitely.
man. Like
Oh yeah.
I've not seen like the younger generation or people that are close to my life that are younger than me, like in their early 20s, mid 20s. Some of them I've literally never seen them without a phone in their hand unless they're eating something.
That's crazy.
They'll be sitting on the couch, phone in hand, right? They'll be walking, phone in hand. Like, what, you don't have pockets? You'll be in the car, phone in hand, unless they're maybe driving, but still at a red light, phone in
Wow.
hand. And then if you're behind them, it's like, yo, let's fucking go, but they're like just going through their feed. And it's insane. Like self-worth is based on it, likes and shit like that. Like, or how many likes you have, how many followers you have. It's a super toxic thing, but I don't even think that's the worst of it, to be quite honest.
What's the worst?
Oof. I mean, I would say I wouldn't okay, I don't have like a number one, two, three. But I would say like, this is by far the worst and all that. Like I'm not right. But I would say what I think are like the top worst things of it are, I think cyberbullying is definitely one of the top things, right? I always said, like, why is this newer generation, younger generation so stressed out, has so much anxiety, so apathetic and depressed? They've got everything, right? Why are they like this? And then I realized like they're never disconnected. There is a lot of bullying going on. They're comparing themselves to other people all the time. Like for young girls, this has to be one of the worst things. And actually,
It's gotta be.
there was a documentary about it where like it was like the people who actually created these platforms were like, would you do it again? They're like, no, I wouldn't do it again. It became
I
something
saw
more
that.
young.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in that documentary, they talked about suicide rates. And for young women, young girls, this is a very bad thing.
Was that Social
Um,
Network or something like that? It was called
yeah,
Social
documentary.
Dilemma.
Oh, okay.
Social Dilemma. Yeah. That was
Yeah.
a really good documentary. And it's like people listen to it and they were like, yeah, this is bad. And then like, what do you think they're
And
doing
they
while they're
post about
watching
it on
it?
their
Yeah,
Instagram.
And
they're
they're
gonna
like, yo,
post
I
about
just
it, or they're
watched
like,
this.
they get bored for 2 seconds, right? I think it does. I like believe Andrew Huberman and like people like him that are like, it screws their dopamine levels,
For
right? Like
sure.
that one reason I got rid of Instagram, the first time I got rid of it, one of the reasons why was because I did find myself just every time I was bored for 5 seconds, I would just pick up my phone and go through a feed really quickly just to see what the latest was. And it was like, I think I said this in an early episode. It reminded me of like those experiments where if you teach a pigeon to peck at something, it gets like a little like thing of like, rice, or I don't know, like the monkey with the sugar cube. I felt like the monkey with the sugar cube.
Yep.
Right. The other thing too is like when we talk about things, another problem, this actually might be the worst thing. I think when it comes to retargeting and stuff like that, right? Going down rabbit holes, to me, the media, whether it's television, print, or social media, I've come to see it in the last few years, my eyes have been open to it. Some people might disagree with me. I just see it as really an extension of political parties at this point because every fucking thing is political. And the polarization in this country, I don't think can necessarily be attributed to just people. I think it's attributed to you go online, you see. You said, Tyler, that you could go on and you choose what you get to follow, right?
Yeah.
I choose what I get to follow. But somehow, some way, every goddamn day I go on social media, I see a politician talking about why something bad happening is the other party's fault.
And it's in your suggested.
I would actually say I
You
never
never
see
get
that.
away from it.
I
You never
never
see
see
it.
get away from
I
it.
always see it. I
I
always
yeah.
see it, and
I
I
don't see it
never
on any
search it.
platforms, but maybe that's just because of what I think it's because you have to curate your fucking. You get to curate.
I mean,
who
so
you
this
follow.
is so
It
this
was
is like
jujitsu and lifting and like
right, but
pet,
here's the thing.
pet
So you've
videos.
got to remember though, like it's not just who you follow, it's who you follow follows, right? These are
Maybe. Well, actually, that's why.
Well,
incredibly
on Twitter, can't you
intricate.
just go click only for the people you follow? And I only on Twitter, I only look at
You
like
can,
notifications.
but I don't. You
So
can, but I don't.
I have so that's what I do. I only have notifications turned on for
Yeah.
like 5 people, and that's all I look at.
Yeah.
I don't
So
scroll
Well,
through
Seth, you
anything
hit the nail
else.
on the head because it says like Joe Rogan follows or
right. So here's
like
what you
Elon
right.
Musk
So
liked or
if you
commented.
right,
That's why I
and so
see it.
that's where you see it. But that goes back like the diligence that Tyler's talking about, it's like you guys remember like Pandora or like Spotify when you would like thumbs up or thumbs down a song.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like if you do a thumbs up on one song and then you never do it again, all you're going to get is that one person. So once you start curating, you have to do full, like you have to thumb up, thumb down every single song you get, or it screws up your algorithm, right?
Yeah.
And so that's kind of what it is now with social media. Like if you don't fully cleanse it of anything at all, where like you're 2 to 3 degrees removed from something, you're going to see it. It's just how it is. It's a
Yeah.
pain. I don't want to say that's the purpose of it. I think because of the climate we're in currently, where try and get yourself 2 to 3 degrees removed from someone who's going to post something political or post something toxic or post something terrible. Like that's very hard to do in this day and age.
It's
So
so hard, man.
I don't think Elon or Zuck are sitting in their room going, yeah, make sure we send these political ones to the suggestion. I think that the algorithm says you follow X, X follows Y follows Z. So maybe you'd be interested in following Z. Oh, wait a second. Z just talked about something political, but we're still going to throw it at you.
Well,
I
but
think
it's like
that's what it comes to.
well, but the algorithm definitely puts you down rabbit holes, and it definitely has, in my
Oh,
opinion,
absolutely, and that's
it's
the whole
driven a
purpose.
lot of
It's
polarization.
the same idea. It's the same idea behind targeted ads. I mean,
Yeah.
Can we talk about the number of times I've seen something on an Instagram feed and been like, well, that looks cool, and now all I get is fucking ads in every single thing that I open for
shit's so
Or you
that.
creepy
talk about
too,
something
yeah.
and then it
That's
shows up
so
in
creepy.
exactly.
What
Yeah.
the fuck?
Not good. Making you the perfect consumer.
So
But
if that's your experience, I could see how it would seem polarizing to you.
yeah,
But I'm
Right.
just saying that's not
I
my
need to go.
experience.
I think
I
what
need
it
to
all
go
comes
through
down
who
to
I
though is
follow.
like you just have to. It's like everything else in life. Like we just have to use our brains, and I know that's simple enough to say, but the vast majority of people who do the doom scrolling and who do the, you know, post only the positive things, or the people who look at just how many likes people got, like those people aren't really using their brains. Okay. If you're going on Instagram and looking at how many likes you have or how many likes someone got versus what you got, you're not using your brain. So I'm not surprised when you see an ad at 2 a.m. for some shiny tool you can stick up your butt and it makes you piss rainbows and you buy it, right? Like that's just, you just have to be smart about it. I got targeted ads,
That'd be a
absolutely.
miracle.
I have yet
that'd
to.
be pretty cool.
It would be pretty sweet.
Pissing rainbows. That'd be
I
cool.
would prefer a pill, but yeah.
No, those aren't invented yet. Come on. You got to go with the shiny thing, man. But I think that's really what it comes down to is you just have to we just have to think more logically, have self-control as
No,
humans.
I agree with you. I agree with you, but I think the masses, right? They probably don't do what you do, Tyler. What you suggested is just go to who I follow, which because I don't even do.
I don't even do that,
maybe,
man. I just notifications on for certain people, and
Well,
I only
I've
go to
muted-
notifications.
Dude, you
I've
know what's
muted
crazy
like
though?
probably all of Congress at this point. I've muted more people than I follow.
You know what's crazy though is, and Twitter does this more than anything, is like I'll do like usually on the weekends I don't do social media at all. Like I'm spending time with my family. We're out experiencing things. I have no need to be on social media.
Yeah.
I'm on social media the, hour a day that my kid naps or whatever. But like if I haven't checked it and it's Sunday at like 2 o'clock, Twitter will just start sending me notifications about like they'll be like so and so tweeted. And I'll be like, what?
Well, I have
I don't
notifications off.
care.
Yeah, I have notifications off
Yeah,
as well
I
for
got 'em.
all of them. They only so even like messages from people that doesn't come through only if I go in and look, and then I'll see them.
Yeah, I'm like that with like Discord and a bunch of other
Discord
apps
as well. Yep.
Yeah, because I want to be. Yeah, I don't want to have to like live in it. But I mean, what are some other like drawbacks to? You know what's weird? I will say, it's like it's kind of like. So the positive is you can keep in touch with people, right? That you don't see every single day. So
And
I will
I'm
say, having been off of social media, I have fallen out of touch with a lot of people. There's only like now like 8 people I could say I actually talk to.
Yeah, but you were the goddamn president of Hofstra, so I mean,
I lost them all. Like I don't talk to a lot of people anymore. And it is what it is, right? Like if we're not putting in the effort to stay in touch, then obviously it wasn't really, wasn't like a real strong relationship. But what's weird to me, so that's kind of like a positive and a negative, right? What's weird to me is that it kind of social media sort of gives you this porthole or window into the lives of other people that you don't keep in touch with. So you know all this shit about somebody's, yeah, they got a kid, they're married, they're living in like Hoboken, blah 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 blah, but you don't even fucking talk to them. So it's like giving up a sense of privacy for what? Like they're like, you know what I mean? Like what's
I mean,
the benefit of
but
that?
I think it goes back to, again, you have to understand what you're doing and what other people are doing on there, and like I post pictures of my kid because I think he looks like an idiot sometimes, and I think it's cute. I don't do it so that 50 million people will go, "Oh my God, your child's so cute." I don't. But there are
Hmm.
people that's literally why they do it. They post pictures every day. My
All the time
husband
with a
is
kid.
my
Yeah.
husband is husband appreciation post.
Yeah. I
He
have the
did
best
this
husband
for me
ever. Yeah.
today.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, dude.
I
I mean,
mean,
but
it's
I think a lot of people don't use their headsets because I think it's supposed to, in a way, be mindless, or at least it's become something mindless. But I guess to your point, when you really think about it, right, and you have to use your head, like I thought about it and I said, this is stupid. Like I don't even know why I'm doing this. Like if you really want to talk to me, text me, call me, write me,
I
whatever you
mean,
want to
yeah,
do. But
I think it
I'm
goes
done.
back again to what you want to get out of it. So
Yeah.
like I look at the fact that like I follow Tyler because he runs, and I sit there and go, I should probably work out more. Like that's why I do it. It's a motivational type thing.
Yeah.
Follow a lot of the sports things I do because I don't have time to sit and watch ESPN for 15 hours a day, but I like to stay current, know what's going on. It's kind of mindless stuff, right? So it's all in how you want to use it. If your sole purpose of using it is to keep in touch with people and then you never actually talk to them, double
Yeah.
tapping a photo is not keeping in touch with someone.
Yeah, exactly.
Just
Yeah.
not.
Oh
It's
yeah, I
just
like that. I saw that. I liked it.
I think the coolest part for me about like posting all the running shit over the last like 9 months or so, has been like when someone will reach out and be like, I've been watching your videos and I signed up for a few races because of it. Like you
That's
got me
awesome,
motivated to,
man.
and I'm like, that's fucking worth it, and
Yeah.
that's
for the
cool.
for the record, I haven't signed up for one yet because I don't have any time in my life. But I have gotten back into running more regularly because of you. So
Yeah.
one, thank you, and two, you're an asshole for that. So
And I just try to post like the real shit. Like today, or yesterday, I was kind of doing an experiment on myself the last couple of days where I was going in with a calorie deficit from the day before. So 2 days ago, I was like $1,000 or 1,000 calories under, and yesterday I was 2,200 calories under. And so today I tried to run like 22 and a half. I ran 4.5 at lunch, and then I was trying to do 18 right before this, and I only made it to 9, and like I couldn't go any further. Like my energy levels were just so fucking low. And so like
Yeah.
when I'm recording, I'm like, yeah, I'm calling it. Like I just can't go any fucking further. Experiment over.
Yeah.
well, and but that's when you're looking for someone to follow, that's what you look for. Like I look at your highlights of your last race where like you didn't finish,
Yep.
but like you still showed everything. You still showed what you did, and you showed the end when you did call it. And that's like those are That's what you should be seeing. People's downs as much as their ups.
And at the end, I go, this is what I think I did wrong. This is how I think I'll get better next time. And hopefully it helps you,
And that's the other point is you're not doing it to be like, guys, make sure you tell me you feel bad for me. I need to feel that people feel like certain people will post things so you can, oh my gosh, I hope you feel better. Oh my gosh, I hope you're doing okay. Oh my gosh, T's and P's, prayer hands. Like,
Right.
no, that's not what this is supposed to be about.
So I guess, okay, so negatives, we said it's polarizing. It's definitely affecting people's mental health, especially the younger generation who's growing up with this and getting bullied. And what other
I
negatives
would
do we
say
list?
even our generation is pretty fucking
Yeah,
scary though.
yeah, for sure.
I mean, most generations are, but I think again, there are positives in it. And what I feel worst about is like I don't think any of these companies were created with malicious intent.
No, they
None
weren't.
of these guys built these companies and said, hey, let's watch the world. But no, like it was meant to, because if you think about it, like, yes, okay, we've all seen the social network. We know how Facebook actually came to be, and it was, is this girl hot or not? Blah, blah, blah. But I think what it turned into and why it was college based at first is because college is the first time this person comes from here and this person's from over here and this person's from over there and over there, and every 3 months you leave for an extended period of time. So how do you stay in contact with these people, right? Because AIM was a dying art at that time. MySpace was never meant to really do that. If you think about it, you couldn't really write on other people's walls on MySpace. You could send them messages. So like this was to keep people connected to each other. And I think originally it did. I really think it started going downhill when they started doing things like groups. Groups is like the worst thing in the entire world on Facebook.
Why?
Because you get things like the neighborhood groups where it's like, oh my God, did you see this person doing this in the neighborhood today? It's just a bitch fest. Like, again, has the ability to be fantastic, right? Has the ability to be great. You get like a runners group or you get a cooking group or, you get these but people have just, it's like bitching on your wall times 1,000 because you just conglomerate and then people can pile on top and pile on top and pile on top.
Yeah. It seems like from what I'm gathering, it sounds like obviously so there was MySpace that's like what, dead now, or just no one really uses it, right? Some people might, but it's not what it was. Then there was Facebook. Facebook started to downward trend, right? As far as like daily active users. Instagram was really big. Now it sounds like Instagram's like less active than it used to be. I remember Snapchat was like huge at first, and then
Yeah, I
I
had
kind of got
Snapchat.
over it.
That was fun.
Dude, a lot of younger people. I was like walking around. I've been like walking around town or whatever. Like recently, I was in a parking lot. It's like instead of asking for a girl's number,
You'd ask for a Snapchat.
you
They'd
ask for a
scan each other's
Snapchat.
Snap
Ooh.
ID. Yeah.
So that's just like that's kind of weird to me
That's part
too.
of the thing you
But
can scan or whatever on.
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
I guess
just so
so.
weird.
What do you think? What are the biggest social media platforms daily active users? Do you know what do you think is number one?
Probably
Twitter.
Worldwide. Worldwide. We'll go worldwide.
Worldwide's got to be Twitter.
No, it actually might still be. Maybe it still is Facebook. I wonder.
Facebook is the biggest social media platform in the world as of 2023 with 2.91 billion monthly active users.
But I feel like when you talk to people, they're like, I never go on Facebook anymore.
YouTube, they're considering one, is number 2.
Oh, dude, I love YouTube.
YouTube makes
I
sense.
feel like
I love YouTube.
I feel like
YouTube.
YouTube is good, and I feel like it's more educational than some of the other ones. If
Yeah, I'm
if
always
you
watching like
go the
history,
right direction.
documentaries, and yeah,
Oh, I literally am learning how to fix things around this house on YouTube.
so useful then. Yeah, that's
so
useful.
useful. So I fixed my lawnmower with YouTube.
Right.
Yeah.
Cars, how do I replace the alternator on my truck? Boom, there's like 10 videos
Yep.
that can help.
Yeah, you can learn
So-
it. You can learn to code. You can learn to do anything on there.
So Facebook 2.95 billion, YouTube 2.56, WhatsApp number 3 at 2
Oh,
billion.
that's a social media platform. I thought that was
Yeah,
like
technically.
it
Yeah.
was like an alternative to texting.
Oh, maybe this isn't in order because IG then says 2.5 billion. So I guess IG is before WhatsApp. So IG is still number 3. Monthly active users.
TikTok's not the number one right now.
TikTok, it says only 1.2 billion.
Really?
Yeah.
There's places it's banned though. Remember, there's even like states in the U.S.
Well, that's
where it's banned.
that's another thing, right? They say like don't because it's like a Chinese. Dude, do you ever watch? Oh my God, what? Oh, Christ! Of course, I forget the name of this podcast now. There's one guy who's an ex-Navy SEAL. He always has guests on, and he had this one guy on that his name is like Sean something maybe. and he had this one guy on, this like young guy who was like a hacker, and he was talking about all these crazy things. He's like, I found out that the vacuum that I bought was connected to like a Chinese cloud server.
Sean Ryan.
So maybe that is it. He's got like a buzzed head, and he talks like kind of slowly, and um let me look it up actually. Let me go on YouTube. That's where I
U.S.
watched
Navy
it.
SEAL, CIA contractor, and founder of Vigilance
Yeah,
Elite.
that's it. Yeah. So he had this really good episode with this one hacker on it. The hacker was Ryan Montgomery at the Ethical Hacker. But he was like, yeah, like my vacuum was uploaded to like a Chinese server cloud, and all they could do is like, essentially, I don't know, do some sort of reconfiguration where when I'm like plugged into the wall, now they're like able to get into my network. And then like they can like basically
What?
steal whatever they want. So like when everyone's like, because I'm always like telling her like you shouldn't have TikTok because it's blah blah blah, and then there's it's like, no, it's just an app and blah blah blah. I'm like, no, but don't you? I don't know. I don't trust it. Maybe she's right. I personally don't trust having that shit on my phone.
Bro, I just think that,
I mean, do you check your bank
Although
account
there's
on your
how
phone?
many other fucking things are there on my phone?
yeah,
Do you check your bank
That's
account
true.
on your phone? Do you log into your like do you log into your email, which is also
Yeah,
connected to
no,
the
you're
bank
right.
account?
You're
You
right.
know,
It's on me to say that because there's a lot of other shit. But with that said, knowing that still, like, I don't want to add risk. You know what I mean? Like, so that's why I have nothing. And plus, again, what am I going to get out of it? I have a Twitter that I log on to once in a while, um, and I'll try and like look at some of the stuff that I like. But I think, and sometimes I'll doom scroll for like 20 minutes, and then I catch myself like, whoa, dude, if you're going to be doing this for 20 minutes, like read a book before bed. Like, don't do this before you try to go to sleep.
yeah, no, I definitely have a very strict no social media before bed and no social media when you wake up in the morning.
Yeah.
I usually check social media one, maybe two times a day, depending on what's happening in my life. That's like the boredom factor, but
Yeah.
never first thing in the morning and never right before bed.
Did you know that you could hit the side button on your iPhone 3 times quickly and it becomes like a red light?
Which
is this
side
is
button?
this thing gonna self-destruct when I do this?
The lock
Which
screen. The
wait,
one that like locks it.
No, my
Hit it
credit
three
card
times
shows up.
quickly. No, hit it 3 times quickly.
I did.
Do it again.
nothing comes up.
You have an iPhone?
I
Yeah.
have the slide to power off, medical ID, and SOS.
Yeah, just my credit card. Maybe it's a
Oh
setting.
wait, I
It's probably a
just got, yeah,
setting.
it's a setting. It's a setting. Yeah, I just got a text from her saying we set it up to do that. LOL. So, but anyway, you should do that because I guess it's like the kind of light you're like taking in will also like fuck with, I don't know,
Yeah, no.
your
Blue
circadian
light.
rhythm.
You're talking about blue
Yeah.
light. Yes. So
Huberman
that's why
talked a
you're
lot
not
about that.
supposed to. Yeah, so that's why you're not supposed to do screens before bedtime in general because
Yeah.
the blue light is screwing with your eyes, which screws with your circadian rhythm. That's
Yeah.
why when you're older, and I don't want to quote this, I read a paper on it long ago. Basically, when you're older, the filters in your eyes have deteriorated, so you see blue light differently, which is why you wake up earlier naturally and go to bed earlier because your circadian rhythm is shifted because you see blue light differently, like
Oh,
natural
interesting.
blue light.
I would set it up because it's like when
I know what you're
I
talking
do
about.
roll
So
over,
mine,
like check the
I
time
have,
sometimes, and then
yeah,
like,
I have, it goes to night screen or whatever.
okay, yeah, do it, dude.
Mine's from 8 at night till 8 in the morning.
So
Oh,
if
mine's
it's not,
always turned down brightness, always to the
No, this is a
maximum
oh,
level.
filter. So this is a filter that filters blue light out of the screen.
yeah, it's just like a red screen, and yeah. But I do that so that if I do check my phone during the night to see what time it is or whatever, because the fucking dog wakes me up like every
Oh, dude, I
hour.
don't even have my phone. I turn my phone to I love iPhone's new. So they used to just have do not disturb. Now they have one that's called
Yeah,
sleep
Yep.
and it puts your screen black until
Yep.
you turn
yeah,
sleep
that's
off. I
legit.
love
Yeah, you have
sleep.
to do those.
I do
You
sleep
have to
every
do that.
that's why literally when we're done these, I usually go right to bed, which is why I do not respond in the group chat because I hit sleep like right away.
Good for you, man. Good for you. We've got these two lights that hang in the bedroom, and they have red light that will like turn on. You can like switch the color, but we put the red light on. When I wake up, I'll check the time, make sure that I have like no pressing email or something like, hey, shit's hit, like, from like offshore, like, hey, shit's hitting the fan. We need you to get online like right away to take care of this. And then I get up, I go outside if it's not raining, and I like sit in an Adirondack chair and I like read a book for a half hour. And then before bed, I try and read, but I try and stay off social media. Because again, like when you're doing nothing, you're trying to wind down. It's so easy to doom scroll, and then you end up seeing something that I don't know could either just make you think or fire you up, or just trying to stay
So
away from it.
do we want to summarize this portion and then maybe talk about that conspiracy theory? of social media.
let's do that.
Summarize
Yes.
conspiracy or
Yeah.
summarize social media. So overall, I think it sounds like we probably believe it's a net negative for everyone unless you're using it appropriately or using it as a tool for yourself.
Policing it for yourself.
I
Yeah.
was gonna say if you're
That's not
diligent
how
about it, yeah,
that's
but
not how
that's not how
most people are. Yeah.
I think it's got potential to be good though. Like I think the potential is there and it's still there, but people really
I
gotta
think
change the way
the
they handle
the
things.
functionality has extended beyond a point to where it's strictly a good thing.
Right.
But man, did
Right.
you ever see my farm on Farmville? Like that was
I did
pretty
not see that. I
badass.
did not see that. Remember, we used to play Waka Waka. It was me against that guy in Italy. We used to go for the high score.
Oh my god,
I
forgot about
crushed
that.
that. Crushed that. All right, so there's that. And then you're by the way, the conspiracy theory that you're about to spit.
There's no
I
factual basis, and I
Also
completely
has
came up
no
with it.
legs, but yeah.
Yeah.
but I
continue.
100% believe in it. So go ahead.
So I was thinking the other night after the threads came out from the Meta Empire, and there's a lot of I don't know if it's facts, but a lot of information out there that potentially past elections have been influenced by Facebook and other social media platforms. And now with Elon's community notes and attempting to what it seems like to provide more fact-checked information and controlling bots as best they can. My thought was potentially maybe Threads is an opening to allow for potential election influencing still, if Twitter, to compete with Twitter in that aspect.
Because they were freaking out about his purchase and saying it was a threat to democracy and
Yeah.
freedom. And yeah.
Where I think it was actually the opposite if they do what they're saying, releasing stuff like the Twitter files, which I think we should do an episode on. I'm not well read on them.
I've not read on.
We have to
at
read them
all.
again, dude. I remember being on my phone that night and just kept refreshing, waiting for the next one because it was just so insane to see the emails, to see the dollars that were invested. And it was clear that it was skewed towards one political party. And so I think to your point, it's like if they're making a big stink about Twitter and all this, then I believe in what you're saying. I think Threads is like it's the perfect timing. We're going into an election year. There was a huge stink about Twitter being a threat to democracy and really a threat to people who had historically been like banned or shadow banned or silenced on Twitter. Now they are kind of all coming back in full force and they're able to say whatever they want to say. So this is sort of like, again, it's now like a red versus blue type situation.
Yeah, it's
I
crazy.
mean, I would tend to agree.
I can see it.
It'd be pretty ballsy for the man who already has had to sit in front of a congressional committee to then build another app that
maybe they said this is
thing.
how you get off with it. This is how you get off of all that bullshit.
You got to build another app and do it the other way.
And let us control
the
it.
outcome what was the outcome of the hearing?
What is the outcome of any congressional hearing? Let's be realistic.
Exactly. So would you be afraid of, like, you and I, as someone who's not a
One of
billionaire, not
those.
politically corrected, we might not want to sit in front of Congress, right? But when you're at their level, let's be honest, he would not be afraid of having to go in front of them again.
Well, I'll look up what the outcome was.
That's not a conspiracy. No, I honestly think it's a conspiracy, but I think that when I look at historical, what I've seen over the last X number of years, I would not doubt it and call it crazy. I'll put it that way.
It seems like there was a settlement in July 2019 for $5 billion with Facebook. And they said that Zuckerberg couldn't be responsible for the actions of tens of thousands of its employees. So they settled in the end, which was what we kind of assumed.
Yeah, $5 billion, which for them is that is that just a slap on the wrist? Is that, you know what I mean?
I want to say, I was looking at their, like 6 months ago, I was looking at their statements because I was, I'd put a lot of money into Meta after they did pretty good and they've come up over 100% since, but because they've been put a lot of money into the metaverse, which is why I think their statements look so bad. They've been a lot of money putting back into research in the metaverse.
Mm-hmm.
What was I looking at? Oh, Meta annual revenue. It's something like, I want to say, 116 billion.
I mean, still $5 billion. I guess that's not nothing to sneeze at, obviously, but yeah. I mean, this isn't me saying like I think Meta is so evil, but I do think that because again, to your point, it's really, it comes down to how you're leveraging it. If you are using your head, when people say like, oh, the last election, there was like, Russian interference and all this kind of stuff. It's like, if it was actually at voting booths and stuff like that, yeah, that's a huge interference. If it's like them paying $100,000 for advertisements and people are being swayed by ads, I mean, obviously not a good thing, but there's like different levels of how social media can really influence elections. And
Well, I think it's not so much how they paid and what they did. It's the route that we went, right? Like there's rules and regulations. And so if you follow the rules, then there shouldn't be an issue. But if you don't follow the rules, you don't follow the rules. Yes, screwing up a voting ballot is very, very severe, but also skirting the rules, breaking the rules to show these things, whether it's just to put ads on, you still broke the rules, right? Like, and I think
yeah, I mean,
that's
I don't
part
know.
of
I
the
mean,
issue is you still broke the rules. That's the thing.
I'm not gonna say it's like not a big deal. I just think like when you see something on Twitter or whatever you're on, right? Like, don't I would like to think most people do, but the answer is probably don't. Like, don't you take everything with a grain of salt, or maybe go, that's interesting. Maybe I should
I
do a lot of
mean,
research and see if that's true.
look at what we just talked about for the first 45 minutes of the
Yeah,
podcast, right? Like that's not what the general public does. They
yeah,
don't do research. They don't read into things.
Like the vaccine. Remember,
Right.
we that was the no. I'm just
yeah.
saying, like
No,
No,
I
no,
feel like
that's
that was
it's
part of the
literally
problem
what it
too.
is people will read something and go, this is on my social media account. So it's gotta be real.
yeah. You're
Or
probably
or,
right. People
or
read
read it and
headlines
go,
and
I'm not gonna do my own research into this. I'm just gonna believe what this person said.
yeah,
Or
yeah,
I'm not
yeah,
gonna believe what this person said because it's this person, right?
yeah,
So it's a lot of just being vigilant and taking the time to do your own research and learn for yourself.
yeah. And people don't. You're right. I think we talked about this maybe with Shawnee too. It was like people just look at a headline and. I mean, that was Mike. I can't remember, but it's like they look at a headline and now that's the truth. They don't actually read the article. It just says like, this happened here, and everyone's like, "Did you see what happened? Yeah, this happened."
Oh
And
my
people
God.
just start making up shit.
Nope, I can't. I just saw that the other day with the Yankees. The Yankees just had a relief pitcher who got suspended for the rest of the season for domestic violence. And two newspaper articles, both talking about what Aaron Judge had to say about the guy getting suspended. And one made it sound like Judge was mad at Major League Baseball for the suspension, and the other made it sound like Judge was mad at the player
Of
for
course, man.
domestic abuse. And you read it, and literally they are the same article. They say the same thing. They both have Judge's quote in it. But if you just read those two headlines, one literally makes it sound like Aaron Judge is supporting a domestic abuser, and one makes it sound like he's not. I was like,
Yeah,
we've talked about this. We literally have talked about this.
yeah. It's yeah. That we can go down a rabbit hole on that one.
But so I almost think that sometimes it's in like unavoidable. Like thinking about social media apps, where there's headlines on the side of the screen or something that sometimes you scan over it quickly, but you don't really read into it, and then in conversation with people
I
later on,
mean,
like, hey,
character
I did
limit.
see, I did see an article about
Yeah.
that, and the title said this, and you didn't look into it any further. So
Yep.
in conversation, you bring it up, but maybe that's I would say I'm guilty of that too, right?
That's character limit. Who's gonna read? Who's gonna read? And people will claim that this helped. I don't know about you guys. You ever click into something and it tells you how long it's gonna take you to read it, and
Oh
you
yeah.
see
yeah.
there's like 25 minutes. You're like, I'm not gonna read this.
Or
Like,
when
Yeah,
Rich sends us
yeah.
videos and they're like an hour long, you're like, nope, delete, or not reading that one.
wait, you do it. You do. So my old man loves America's Got Talent, and it's America's Got Talent season. So he will literally send me 6 to 8 YouTube videos every night that America's Got Talent's on, and he wants me to see them all because it's the X. And so I've gotten to this point where because I don't care, I don't watch them. I just wait like 5 or 6 minutes, and I go, "Wow," or "That's impressive."
There you
So that's what
go.
I do. That's what I do with Rich now. I just wait like 20 minutes, an hour or so, and then I go, "Dude, that's stupid."
Gee,
unless
thanks.
unless I'm bored as hell, which hardly like never happens. If it's longer than 30 seconds, I'm not watching it, to be honest.
My dad just sends me videos of like these like this like monkey rescue in I don't know like Vietnam or Cambodia, and it's like all these little tiny monkeys, and he just like watches it. One time he blew through all of his data within like a very short period of time because he was at work on his like lunch breaks. He just watched a bunch of videos of this little monkey.
We now know where Rich got his YouTube watching capabilities
Okay.
from.
I don't even know, dude. He was never a guy that like watching him text. It's like one finger, like it takes a while. Like he's never been somebody that's really embraced technology ever. Like can't really type or anything like that. Um, and like on a computer or whatever. But like somehow he found out how to use YouTube and sends like monkey videos. Everyone's gonna be super sensitive about what's shared, and all that kind of stuff.
Again, though, that just takes back to, though, it goes back to who, and we just said it, we've glossed over or not read it in a long time. Like, people have heard of the Twitter files, people get the gist of the Twitter, but who's read the Twitter files, right? So people sit
And
here and go,
also like
man,
how do you perceive it?
the Twitter files happened, and they're still like defend Twitter to the death, or now they're on Threads, or
Yeah,
you know,
yeah. Well, that's
Well,
that's and that's society
it's
as a
just
whole
like
right
people
now.
who literally thought that joining Threads and then putting their thread tag on their Twitter was smacking Elon in the face. He's got a little bit more
Yeah,
to do in
it's
life
so pathetic,
than
dude.
worry about you putting your thread tag
Yeah,
on his Twitter.
yeah. People that tweet at him are the funniest thing to me. It's like, hey, Elon, why am I seeing these videos? Hey, Elon, you're ruining like my life. It's like, you think he's reading that? And he's like, oh shit, I better backpedal. I'm ruining this person's life. Like
he
people are
must get
hilarious with
he
that.
must get like tagged in a million
In
posts a day.
a million things, man. But it's like to your points, Seth, because like me personally, I couldn't imagine voting for one political party and or a candidate just because of their political party. Like I can't imagine that. Like, oh, I'll never vote Democrat, I'll never vote Republican, or I'm going to vote for this person. Why? Because they're a Democrat, because they're a Republican. Like I couldn't imagine that. But there's a lot of people
I
that
mean, it's the world
literally
we're in right now.
that's what it is.
It's
That's
literally
exactly
what
what we're in.
it's
Yeah,
literally what this what's happening in the swamp right now
and that's what I talked about.
is it's no longer an issue of what's good or what isn't good for the American people. It's what does my political party want?
It's a theology, dude. It's now a theology. It's Catholic versus
Exactly.
Protestant. It's like that's what it is now.
Exactly.
But with Twitter, it's like people read the Twitter files, and it clearly says that there's people from certain parties and there's money from certain people going to certain people, and they're telling you to take certain things down. Right? We have evidence of this, and there's people who see that and they read it, and like two people will read it. Right? One will be a conservative, one will be like a liberal, and the way they perceive certain things are entirely different. And it's not just Twitter, by the way. It's like a million things. People always either turn a blind eye or they do some sort of mental gymnastics to,
I mean,
either
that goes,
support, defend.
it's so hot in politics right now, but let's be realistic. That goes to everything. I mean, we're sitting here and we've got a guy who would defend Tom Brady to his grave,
I was
but
gonna bring up Tom Brady too.
Brady got a 4 game suspension for cheating, right? We got a guy who would support Brett Favre when he was on the Jets, and he was quite frankly terrible. Like that's just who it is. You always support
Giants fan who
guys.
defends Tom Brady. So I think
Let's
It
just say that
doesn't.
Tom Brady's
I'm the
4 game
most level-headed.
extension was unreasonable compared to how some guys are out there fucking committing crimes and getting 1 game suspensions.
Agreed.
I mean,
dude,
Dante Stallworth killed a man and played that week, I believe. So
right, fucking insane. Fucking insane shit. But okay, I don't want to get on that. But
yeah,
I was going to say, like,
sorry, I sidetracked it real hard.
we got in an argument about Brett Favre and Tom Brady years ago when it was a viable argument, right? That at that point in their careers, and we both were on the opposite sides of the argument. All the facts were out there, but we still were arguing. And I feel like that's always going to be the same when it comes to
Yeah.
And sometimes, and you know what? Sometimes that can be a good thing. Sometimes it can be healthy. In sports, it's very healthy. It's why sports are the way they are. It's why sports are as great as they are. It's why sports are as fun as they are. Yes, it can be annoying when you get people who are just like, fucking, yeah, man, Yankees are the greatest team of all time. 27 rings, 27. Shut up. Yankees haven't won a ring since 09, man. You gotta sit down and relax a little bit. And that's coming from a Yankee fan. You gotta sit down and relax a little bit, right? But that's the best part about sports is all the facts can be laid on. It's Jordan versus LeBron, right? That's what it is. All the facts can be on the table and people can discuss it regularly. But and that's a healthy thing. It's not healthy when people stand behind things that are just done wrongly, and it's point blank,
and literally could affect the life, actually affect the lives of people. I think with Twitter, though, what made it so interesting to see this dichotomy was that you saw all the feedback in real time. So it was like people were like, "Oh shit, you see this? Like, we got to rebel and take back our country." And then on the other side, it was just like, "Oh, they're like, I can't believe they're putting this out right now, and they're destroying the country and this and that." And it's like, So it was interesting to see it in real time. Even remember 2 weeks ago or however long ago when the Wagner group was on their way to Moscow. Right? This one guy had tweeted he gave Joe Biden all this credit that he toppled the Russian, he toppled communism, and he toppled Russia and Putin. And it's like, and then all of a sudden they turned around. It's like, dude, you literally, and he had like thousands of likes and retweets and stuff like that. It's like, yeah, you were a little early on that one because now the Wagner group's turning around, and so but people will like then go out there, they're retweeting it. So now this has to be a fact, right? Joe Biden toppled Putin and all that kind of stuff. So it's yeah, I think that's what makes social media in a way bad, but at the same time, it does make it, I will say, for lack of a better word, entertaining because you do have those real time.
Again, and it's entertaining for people like us who critically think and know, that all these other people are crazy. We don't jump into the fray, just shoot off at the head. Like, it's so funny to watch when anything at all news based on anything is going and something, and the 50 retweets or subtweets on it all have nothing to do with anything that's actually discussed. And it's just like, well, this happened with my political party. And you're like, okay, let's reel it back a little. That had nothing to be done with. It's absurd, man. It's
So I guess most importantly on this topic
It's
of
a
social
bad
media,
thing.
definitely,
a bad
definitely.
thing. I think it's just like you want it to be good. You do. You want it to be good. It was meant to be good, but it's a bad thing.
But I
man.
think
It's
it
something
gets
that
solved.
has great. Go ahead, Tyler.
It's a joke. I was gonna say I think it gets solved when Elon and Zuckerberg fight in a
Right?
UFC
Thank
cage
you.
match.
Thank
That'll
you.
be very
So
interesting.
are we doing a watch along for that? Is that how
Bro,
we're gonna
We
do
if
should,
that
man. We
this?
should.
happens, yes.
I think it is happening, right?
No,
Like,
no, I was just googling around.
So Dana was on the Pat McAfee show last week, week and a half ago, something like that, and he was talking about how like both guys want it and Dana wants to like do it, but it's not that simple. It's not something where you can just say we're going to do it on this, because you got to get a venue that agrees, you got to get revenue shares, you got to get a TV company that, like, it's not as cut and dry as this guy wants to fight this guy. Go.
Yeah.
Did you see
I get that, but
Zuck's pretty
But
yoked
training.
right now. Zuck's pretty yoked right now. Did
Zuck's-
you see the
yeah,
photo?
Did you see how Zuck like came in second in the tournament and then he blamed it on the gi, so they redid it, so then he came in first or something like that?
I didn't see that, but I saw he was in
doing
one.
jiu-jitsu. Yeah,
He's been in a few, like he's big into jiu-jitsu.
if it goes to the ground, he probably will maul.
Bro, the age
Elon.
difference alone is
Dude,
so...
he's gonna maul Elon regardless.
Elon, did you ever see the picture of Elon on the boat? Like first of all, like Joe
Did you
Rogan
ever
told
see
us,
the
Hell
picture that
shit.
Zuck put out like today?
where he's looking cut in front of between
Yes.
well, dude, that's the thing though. Like Elon probably has some good genetic potential. Like if you saw him, dude, he was thick, dude. He was like a fucking gorilla. Like his rib cage, his chest. He was just like
I'm looking at it now. Yeah, but bro,
Elon
like
on the
if
boat.
he lifted,
Would you just Google Elon on the boat?
I did, yeah. Elon,
dude, if he lifted, he'd be yoked as shit.
So yeah, if he trained for like 6 months, but he's still early 50s and Zuck's like mid 30s. I mean, come on, that's a big difference.
True. And lifting's not going to make him a better fighter, but I think so. He's got to buckle down and start training a lot more. But I'm just saying he's got some genetic potential.
I thought you were gonna make a joke and take a dig at Seth not liking Elon, which I would have found funny, but you didn't.
I was waiting for him to bring it up.
Well, yes, Seth, are you waiting to see Elon? Do you want to see Elon lose?
I think that I don't
He would
care.
love it.
I truly don't care because I personally don't like either of them, but I just think it'd be entertaining to watch those two nerds go at it, man.
Yeah, might be the biggest fight of all time.
Actually, it probably would.
Like pay-per-view wise,
it would be. It would. But
I think
it's not like pay-per-views would be $100 though.
I think I don't know if I'd pay $100 to watch it. That's
probably be live streamed on Twitter or in Threads or IG or something.
That could be true, depending on contract. Yeah, I don't know how that would work, but
yeah.
So okay, I think we've had a lot of negative feedback about social media, but obviously we've agreed there's some good applications. I think it's kind of like a lot of other things, right? There could be something that's a good application. There's a lot of good features, functionality. There's a lot of good potential, but at times it's used for a bad thing. And unfortunately, we're seeing it used for a bad thing quite often. I mean, there's analogies like say like firearms, for example, right? Depending on where you kind of stand there, you see them used for bad things all the time, but there's obviously good applications, hunting, self-defense, stuff like that. It's like I don't know, maybe that's a weird comparison. I'm just trying to figure out things that like have these good applications that are taken too far. I think that with social media, when we talked about MySpace, when we talked about Facebook in the early days, it was awesome to be connected with friends and see certain things. But then it got to the point where they were monetizing the data, they were sharing data. Like, then people started to um, probably share a little bit too much. And then there was the retargeting and the the algorithms. People become polarized. So I think at a certain point, and I can't really identify exactly when, I think that's going to start to go a little bit off the hinges. Influencers and again, unrealistic expectations and things like that. But again, I do think it's important to say there are some good applications because there's a lot of people, to your point, Seth, even though you said groups were a bad thing, I think it does help connect people from all over the world that might have like-minded interests, and people that are kind of local to each other that might have some of similar interests that, people are meeting up with each other. People have met and made like lifelong friendships. They've made relationships. They met on, on these things. So there's a lot, there's a lot
I
of
think you
things.
just hit it. I think when doing social media became a job, and I don't mean like maintain, I mean like when being an influencer, when your job, when your career was posting on social media, that's when it really started to take a downward turn, because that's when people started following you for your lifestyle. They started following you for what you did, and then they wanted to do what you did. And now you're looking at all these influencers who's like, dropping that link, make sure you drop my name in the promo code. And so now you're spending money on things that aren't going to make you like this influencer, but you think it might because they use it. And it all started, in all honesty, it all started with celebrities, which it wasn't meant to, right? Like Twitter was meant to have normal people connect with celebrities. Celebrities would tweet, right? Because at Facebook, you're not going to be friends with celebrities. I think the first interaction between famous people and non-famous people was Twitter. And then companies started being like, this person's got X number of followers. If they say they use my product, I'm going to watch those dollar signs come in. And then it moved on from, the Kardashians of the world, who, say what you will about them, they were famous prior to social media. They were.
Yeah, that's true.
But it went from them to the, I don't know, name your favorite influencer of the day type thing, who, like, that's their job. They never actually had a job. They weren't famous other than on social media, right? So
What constitutes? See, that's the thing I always ask myself: like, what constitutes a social media influencer? Because there's like, it's like, oh, I saw this person on social media. They're an influencer. This one girl, she's an influencer. She always goes to this restaurant. She stayed at this hotel. And it's like, who the fuck is she
I
really
think you have
influencing?
to, I think part of it is you have to
you
have,
know,
Decent
so
following, getting paid. I don't know.
remember it's decent following, but like a lot of times you see people who do the drop this promo code or tell them I sent you and things like that, and
yeah.
Yeah,
they
getting
get paid
paid.
based off of other people
But then
buying.
it's like now everyone's a content creator, an influencer. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
Right.
what do you do? It's like, I have 5,000 people that
Like
follow me and I'm an influencer and content
that's
creator. It's like,
that, but
oh,
you're
really?
not.
No, you're
But
not.
but
Yeah,
you're really
exactly.
not,
But you're
right?
not.
Like I'm not gonna go change my profile to say that, we're influencers because we've made 8 podcasts so far. If we start seeing a cash flow on this and we start able to have some sponsors and, be able to do things, then yeah, then we become, you know,
Is Tyler
podcasters. We
one? Is
become a
Tyler one
So,
social
because
media,
he made somebody sign up for races?
so
So
the
maybe he's a,
four types
but
of
he didn't
social
get a
media
credit for it,
influencer. This is just some random bullshit article, but I'm down for the definition. A mega influencer, 1 million plus followers. A
okay.
macro influencer, 100 to 1 million, 100K to 1 million. A
Okay.
micro, 1,000 to 100,000, and a nano, less than 1,000. So I don't know.
So
What?
anybody's an influencer. It's just a matter of nano, micro,
My
macro,
personal
mega.
favorite is the people you went to like high school or college with who are like, love this brand of detergent, use it all the time. And I'm like, who? You have 400 friends. Who are you trying to influence to use your brand of detergent?
Yeah. That just always strikes me because it's like, and again, maybe because I don't have some of the same interests, but it's like you're really influenced by this person because they went on vacation here or they like went to like eat at this restaurant. Like that's really they're like an influencer. You're being influenced by this person. You have no idea. They're like 23 years old. They don't know who the fuck they are.
Yeah, I guess in my head,
But
yeah, like we had said, a certain amount of following, maybe it's 10 or 20,000 people, and
yeah,
they're getting paid to do some shit. That'd be
yeah.
my definition.
Well,
So
why don't we shift to
we're just gonna do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
because this is kind of going because now I'm thinking OnlyFans and stuff like that. But
Social media net negative. I think we agree for society.
I think
I
net
don't know.
negative.
Rich,
I think net negative.
Rich just brought OnlyFans in, so you might be able to boost
Woo.
the positives.
Bit of positive.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm
Are we
Um,
kidding.
going back to the porn? Is that what we're talking about?
they also let's go
Porn is
to
bad.
porn.
Yeah,
Let's go to porn. So
that's a good transition. OnlyFans to porn.
OnlyFans and porn, that's the same thing in my opinion. But I mean, right? I guess it is kind of.
I don't know.
Although some
I don't
people
think
call
there's.
themselves content creators, right? They're the number. They're like top.
They are creating
0.01.
content.
They're
I don't
creating
think there's any
content.
penetration on OnlyFans. I
Well,
could be wrong.
Yeah, but isn't like Playboy's pornography, isn't it?
Not anymore.
I don't know enough about OnlyFans to be honest.
Pornography.
I don't know enough about porn.
Hang on,
Yeah, me either.
Rich is
After-
googling. Rich is just googling the word pornography.
Printed or visual material containing the explicit description or display of sexual organs or activity intended to stimulate erotic rather than aesthetic or emotional feelings.
Okay.
So OnlyFans is pornography. But
Yeah.
porn. Okay. So when we talk about this digital transition, right? So we grew up before the internet, before cell phones before everyone had them, right? It was like sort of a status symbol if you did one when we were kids and they were big.
We
So
we
there's
were 18 before you could surf the web on your phone. Like legitimately. The first iPhone
yeah.
came out when we were 18.
Yeah, and it was so slow too. Remember
Yeah.
that shit?
You had to
Even now
connect-
for like, yeah, it's
Yeah.
like if I don't have like what is it, LTE or whatever, like it's going back to like if it's like 3G or whatever they like put you on when you have bad service, it's so slow.
I just remember Tyler always used to have to stand by a window. He's always used to have to
Yeah,
be by a
Oh
freshman
window.
yeah, the one
year.
in the hallway, yeah, in your fucking boxers or your towel. But and that's such a
How we
first
got
world
locked
problem
out.
too, to say like, oh, it's so slow, such a first world problem. So I'm blessed to be able to complain about that. But so this digital transition, porn, right? Now it's like in the palm of everybody's hand. So there was a time where you had dial up and you had a family computer because there was only one in the house. Not everybody had a laptop. And you used to have to try and sneak some shit, right? Because you were like a 13-year-old boy and you wanted to see some boobs. So you used to try and sneak some
And
shit.
if it froze, oh, you were in trouble.
If it froze or if you got a virus and you like, oh, where'd this virus come from? I remember one time my mom was like, she was like, she probably felt so awkward. She did not ask it. She's like, was anybody searching for some inappropriate things on the computer? I'm like, no, not me. No, huh? Not me. No, it's the gospel.
Must be a virus.
Yeah, I was just seeing if there's like an internet Bible, mom. But yeah, so like now it's in the palm of everybody's hand. So you literally have like Pornhub, you have like all these other websites that you can go to see porn. You can even go to like type in a celebrity name and type like XXX, and it's like some weird people will like put their head on. And there's apps now actually that like take people's heads and put it on like some naked person's body, so it looks like it's a porn.
I mean, you seem to know a lot. You seem to know a lot about this.
Twitter,
You
dude.
know a lot
Twitter.
more. You know a lot.
You know a lot more
I'll
than
tell you
I
how. I'll tell you how. So you talked about curating what you like. Okay. I like playing video games. I don't really play them that much anymore, but I
I
used
see
to play
where
a lot
this
of
is
video games.
going.
I go on gaming Twitter. You go on gaming Twitter, and there's basically a half naked girl that says me or PS5, right? All the time. Or it's like a girl like pushing her boobs together, and it's like gamer girl, come see me stream. Because Twitch is basically now just like it's another channel to advertise for OnlyFans. And so like that's essentially it's gaming Twitter became it's not really about the gaming anymore. And if you go on like the Daily Loud or Barstool, and anytime a girl's like featured, it's like I'm thicker, I'm prettier, I'm badder. Like you always have like an OnlyFans girl commenting on like all the most popular pages too, which is smart because you're getting all those impressions and stuff like that. But anyway, so now it's in the palm of your hand. You can do all that kind of stuff. So I personally think, look, I understand the appeal of porn, especially when you're like young and your testosterone's absolutely raging. You're all jacked up on hormones and all that kind of stuff. I totally understand it, right? I've watched porn plenty of times. But now that I've become older, I can see it is. I personally feel it's a bad thing. Like, sure, it's a cool dopamine release and other kinds of releases, but I think at the end of the day, like it's a bad thing because it sets unrealistic expectations around a lot of things. There's the way a woman's body looks, the things that you're gonna do, like
Sexual
in the
acts.
bedroom, sexual acts. There's guys that get surgeries that like plenty of surgeries so that they're like they got like a 15-inch dick. So there's like all these weird all this weird kind of shit. And now though too, like anybody with an iPhone, if you have parents that don't have, set certain kind of settings or anything like that, you now have these 12, 13-year-old kids that are literally having porn in the palm of their hand
Yeah, it's
all the
crazy.
time. So I think, and then the whole dopamine thing too, right? Anytime you could just get a dopamine release nonstop, I think it does screw with your benchmarks in a
I
lot
can't
of ways.
imagine having access to that as a
Oh,
young
God, no.
teen.
No,
Oh,
dude,
that
it
would
would
have
be
been
the
Right?
so.
worst. It would be terrible.
Yeah, it's gotta
I mean,
ruin
at the
your
time it'd be
expectations.
fantastic, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's gonna ruin your expectations for
Oh,
any kind of
absolutely.
sexual activity with a female
Well,
for
first of all, I mean, you're gonna more than likely be impotent. Like that's a thing.
You're definitely gonna
Um,
screw up some shit down there.
pornography based impotence is a thing.
What do you mean?
So basically what happens is you've watched so much porn and you have such high expectation, you think of what to expect that when you actually have sex, you can't get up because
Oh
it's not what
damn.
you see in all porn. Yeah, it's a real thing. Don't ask me why I know it. I
Yeah,
promise
and
it's
just
not
and
me.
just beating the
I
shit.
promise it's not me.
All that simulated violence on your piece is probably like bad for your body too. When you're like, I mean, dude, if you're 12 years old, you're probably jerking off like 5, 6 times a day.
Were you not doing that when you were
Seriously,
12 years old?
not with a phone.
How many times did you say a day?
I had a really good. I had to, dude. When we were young, man, you had to have an imagination.
You
know what I mean?
did. You really did. You did have
you're
to.
like a screenwriter. You know what I mean? You
Find
had
the
to come
best
up with all,
magazine, the best,
You had
find
to,
the
most
best
revealing
magazine.
magazine around.
Yeah, dude, you had to like come up with all these fucking weird
which wasn't even
scenarios and
porn. It was like if you could get your hands on the SI swimsuit edition,
Oh
or
yeah.
I didn't
like
have that. I had like Victoria's Secret in my house and like, and that was what like Adriana Lima back in the day and all those people. But I mean, yeah, dude, you had to literally be like a screenwriter. Like I should have been a
you did.
writer.
You
Like
had
most
to.
of the
I mean, you had to develop the story, and then you had to figure out why he was delivering the pizza, and then you had to figure out why there was no pizza. I
yeah,
get it, Rich.
all
I get
within
it.
you had to fit it all into 2 minutes. You're like, but it was yeah, man. It was just
No,
completely different
look.
now.
At the end of the day, there are studies out there that doing that act regularly is actually healthy for you. Determine what regularly and healthy means.
Masturbation.
But
You mean,
yes,
yeah.
but like
What do
regularly
does it
isn't.
have to be? Does it have to be masturbation or just is it just the
Yeah, dude, the
ejaculating? Because I said it's so weird. Ejaculating.
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 Because
No, like,
if you have a partner, why wouldn't you do it with a partner every day?
I'm sorry, your partner lets you do it every single day.
I mean, if you had a partner, why wouldn't you do it? I mean, I don't want to share too much, but I'm just saying, like, if you have a partner, you should
Look,
not,
again,
try to not jerk off.
this is not me speaking from personal experience at all. I like all joking aside, but it is like that there is science out there that says that the chemical releases in your brain that happen when you do it once a day is fantastic. It's incredibly healthy.
It's like a cold plunge.
Yeah, it's like a cold
Oh,
plunge.
dude, I want to do those so bad. I cannot do that. I hate cold water. We went down to Florida. It was like in the 80s, the water. So I wouldn't get out of it. But then coming back, like, dude, I can't even do like barely a cold shower. I have to have that shit where my skin turns red when I shower. Anyway, separate conversation. I want to do cold plunges, but I'm too much of a pussy. Is the long story short.
So just ejaculate then. Ejaculate.
Yeah, before I because they say what cold plunge before you work out. So I'll have to jerk off before I work out.
Yeah, and
That's
Rogan, they were talking about something about putting your hands in
that's
cold.
who was the UFC fighter who talks about having sex more frequently before their fight? I can't remember who it was.
Oh, there's a oh man, okay. So there's a jujitsu guy named Gordon Ryan. And he has like he's got a guy, Nick something, that's his like arch nemesis. So I can't remember Nick's last name, but I kind of know him as like Gordon Ryan's arch nemesis. Anyway, so that guy said he busts nuts. This is like quoting him. He busts nuts on the reg because a lot of fighters will not like they'll not basically ejaculate before it just sounds so unnatural. A guy's not gonna like blow a load or come before his fight, right? You want to
To
have sex or
build
anything
up
like that.
aggression or something.
So yeah, or like testosterone or whatever. But he's like, no, I keep my testosterone high by like coming every day.
Yeah, I don't know the signs.
I don't know the science.
I think
I don't
there's
know if
no.
there's like science.
I honestly think it's still a hotly debated thing, but there definitely was because I remember reading that and be like, "What? That's a thing." Hold on.
Yeah, I don't know, but I think Well, to kind of stay on topic though, like, do you think it's a good thing or Seth, it sounds like you think it's a bad thing. You think it's a good thing
Porn or
to
ejaculating?
come to ejaculate every day is a good thing. You're saying, Seth,
I mean,
but to
I wouldn't I don't think you need to like build it into your daily schedule, but like I don't think that people need to be
10
shamed if
o'clock,
they're
8
I have to go
a.m.
to the
Wake up, go to the
bathroom.
gym.
No, I don't.
9
Yeah,
a.m. Jerk
I
off.
don't think people should be ashamed if they do it because everybody does. And frankly,
Um,
most people probably watch porn in one way or another. But I will say, I do think that porn is a bad thing.
oh, it was Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey's the UFC fighter who said she has lots of sex before fights.
Looks
Okay.
like McGregor that said it too at some point in
Yeah.
2015.
Sorry. But no, I think that one, the social taboo around it is a terrible thing, but two, like I truly believe again, just think about again, we've all had sex. We all know there's a great rush of dopamine to your brain when that happens. So if you're not having sex fairly regularly, why not get that dopamine another way? It's better than going shooting heroin into your arm.
True.
That's very true. Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying, and I feel like it's if you're really struggling and you got to get over the hump, maybe it's easier to just throw it up there and watch it and go about your business. But I think like what it has done to people's brains and just maybe not like from a physical, I don't know, way, but I think what it's done to set unrealistic expectations and all that,
Oh
and just
yeah, no.
the fact
Porn
that it's in
is
the palm of your hand is
Yeah, no, the easy access to massive amounts of porn is ridiculous. It's absurd and it's quite again, it all goes back to the younger generation. All these things are dangerous for the younger generation. I think the reason that our generation is kind of as strong as it is because we still had to do things. We still had to have the imagination. We still had to, when we were riding bikes, we, were riding our
imagination.
motorcycles. Imagine it. We were running around our college dorm with lacrosse sticks going, boom, I got you. Boom.
Oh my god, dude, that was so fucking
you know,
funny.
but like that, I feel like kids these days don't even have an imagination. Like I think of the two girls who next door, super sweet girls, super sweet, and they're actually relatively nice and they're outside frequently, but like there'll be days where their dad's like, I'm trying to get him to come outside, it's 70 degrees out, it's gorgeous, all I want to do is play Minecraft and that stupid cube blocks or Roblox or whatever
How
it
old are they?
is.
Roblox.
6 and 4.
It's Roblox, yeah. 6 and
Yeah,
4.
yeah. So it's like even at that age, like I used to get scolded if I didn't go outside. I used to be
Right.
like, you're going outside, like that's a thing.
Go out,
Yeah.
come back before dark. You're good.
Yep.
Well,
Come
yeah,
back for dinner or
exactly. Yeah.
something.
I used to like look, I played video games. I had the original Nintendo, the N64. Like I've always had a console. And I've definitely gamed a lot. But I remember growing up, like it was to your point. It was like it was the summertime, and we used to have this like all the kids in the neighborhood would get together. We'd have our bikes. We played Manhunt at night. The
Manhunt.
only
Hell yeah.
that was so fun. I wish as an adult we could just play that. But
I'd be down.
dude, you know what they have now that I wish we had? It's not a paintball gun. It shoots these little beads that you soak in water, and then it
Oh,
like
my neighbor had these. We just played with them. They are awesome.
I think
Dude, why
They
do
are
we
Seth
have
just
so
that?
much
ejaculated.
fun.
Why
Dude,
do we
they are
have that
so
shit?
much fun.
Because you
Oh
could play that
my
in the neighborhood,
God.
like like back because when we were kids, it was paintball guns. Maybe you had airsoft guns, but like paintball was gonna like tear people's houses. This, I'm like, I look at that and I'm like, I was at like Walmart recently and I'm staring and I was like, I want to buy this, but then I'm gonna be like the creepy guy that's like, hey kids, want to play with me? So I'm like, yeah, let's not do that. But I wish we had that. But anyway, we were always out. We were always on our bikes. The only rule that my mom had was like when I whistle, come home. So she's just stand on the back deck. She used to like whistle and we used to come home. We'd have dinner and then we'd go out and then again after dinner and then we would come home again when she would whistle like when basically the sun was coming down. And even then it was kind of like maybe one of us would ride our bike back and be like, yo, we're gonna play manhunt down at this place down the street. She'd be like,
Yep.
okay, like not too late, like be home by like 10 or 11. We didn't have like phones or anything, so I don't even know how the hell we knew like what time to go home, but
I'd always
maybe
come
she
home too
whistled
late and
again
get
if it
yelled
got.
at.
Did you?
Yeah,
Maybe
all
she
the
whistled.
time.
I can't remember again, but we were always within like whistle shot because she had a loud whistle. Um, but yeah, dude, like you don't really see that with kids anymore. Like even when I see kids in the neighborhood, there's like three of them. There's like bikes on the ground, but they're all like looking at a phone.
Pokemon Go, man. Pokemon Go. That's the new one. They're out doing it, great, but like you're still on your phone looking at things. Like
Seth,
Everything's around the phone.
when did you say you're gonna give Colin a phone again?
not until he's so we haven't made a strict rule. My big thing is like I didn't get a cell phone until I was on a team that traveled. So I had to contact my parents.
I was
So I would
16.
prefer to
Me too.
not give my child a phone until they need one physically. There's no need for a child at 8 years old to have a phone. There's not.
I feel like it's almost like maybe like 14 nowadays makes sense, right?
The reason everyone
Yeah,
says like earlier though is
absolutely.
because it's like they'll get made fun of. That's always
Exactly.
what
And
parents
that's
say.
the sad fact. They'll get made fun of for not having a phone.
But
Oh,
you know where they're
okay.
not getting made fun of? On social media.
Correct.
It's true. I would not want to be grown. Honestly, like I said before, like I always
I
thought they
wouldn't want
had
to be a kid
everything.
right now.
I would not want to be a kid
I
right
wouldn't
now. I
want to
think
be a kid right now.
we had the best childhood. I think I maybe said this on a podcast. Like I think about this sometimes. Golden ticket in all of humans history. We grew up, our childhood was in the 90s, right? We're born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s. So we had technology to make things easier, but we didn't have too much technology, right? That time seemed to be like sort of like a utopian era. There was like the economic boom and stuff like that. Like it was a great time. So we were born in America. I was born in Jersey, right? We were all born in good states. Where we didn't grow up like dirt poor, right? I grew up, not like rich, but like middle class. Um, we literally had these. So it's like country, states, class, and like in all of human history, we literally had the golden ticket. We have more power in the palm of our hand in this phone than like literally royalty had in the Middle Ages and like Renaissance and stuff like that, right? You flick a switch and the light comes on.
But we didn't get ruined by it as a kid. Where
We didn't get
now,
ruined by it as a kid. I think this
Well, and
generation has been
that's
screwed.
why it's weird to see. It's almost like the generation before us is on like an overcorrect, which is why they're so terrible with things like social media, because like they now are like, oh my God, things are at the tip at my fingertips. I'm gonna tell it's like I follow this personality on Instagram, and she does like Boomer Mom, where she's her mom. One of her ones is like Boomer Mom posts on Facebook, and it's just stuff that like all of our moms would post on Facebook. I saw a dog today. Like, okay, Doris, nobody cares.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
like it's the overcorrect, right? Because they've never even had anything close to that. We had that with AIM. Like we were able to kind of express ourselves on AIM, but it was just going to a small group of people who we knew and regularly talked to. And that kind of gave us like almost a respect for it, but also like we've had it, so we don't feel the need to do it.
Hmm.
So
I
so
do you think oh, go ahead, Tyler.
I was just going to transition to something else now because we're back on social media again.
yeah, sorry, that was my bad.
Well,
No, no, it's all
it's
of us
like
for
the
doing it.
digital. It's a digital shift though, so I think social
Yeah.
is such a huge part of it. Well, okay,
Are we
let's
done with
let's shift
porn?
though.
We're
Porn, I
never
think
done.
I
We're
think
never done with porn.
I think it's something that is very pleasurable to a lot of people, of course.
To do
But
what?
what do you mean?
Just say the word, man.
Oh,
What do you
like jerk
do?
off? Yeah, like jerk off.
What? I just
But it's
wanted
like
you to
it's
say
like people
ejaculate one more time.
oh ejaculate. How was I saying before? I was like ejaculate. Um,
Ejaculate.
but I think so. I think it's like you get your dopamine release, and to your point, Seth, it's good for you to get that every day. But I think the net, like we said, net for social media, negative. I think net for porn, and a lot of people don't want to hear this because maybe it's an inconvenient truth, but net for porn, I think is a bad thing. And there's a lot of people that are kind of having this like no fap movement and like that kind of shit now, right? So there's like some people that are it's becoming more of like a popular trend to like don't jerk off, don't watch porn, like lift weights, try and be healthy. And I don't know. Now, there was an article yesterday that said that there's like people that are really into fitness is like an alt right thing.
Oh, I did see that.
Yeah, and then I saw a video. It was like a lobster or like a crawfish with like a little like it had like a toothpick with two cucumbers on the end, and he was like benching, and it was like alt right lobster. But yeah, dude,
Oh,
that's
was it the guy
fucking.
from SpongeBob? The lobster from SpongeBob?
Somebody said it was like Larry the lobster from
Yeah, yeah,
SpongeBob.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
But
gotcha.
that video was like alt right lobster. But so that's starting to catch on because I think like people are realizing like this stuff does screw with your brain. Look, if you jerk off once in a while, you watch porn once in a while, it's probably not going to screw you. If you do it every day, probably going to screw with you. If you do it multiple times a day, it's definitely going to screw with you, especially when you're in a relationship. And and again, your dopamine releases, anxiety, depression, all that kind of stuff. It's all related. But so I think net of porn, bad thing. I think the fact that we've had this digital shift, everything's on your phone nowadays. You have porn, you have social media. I think these things are they're not good. They're not good. There's more productivity in your day when it comes to business and stuff like that. You're always connected, which I also think is a bad thing because it's very hard to like go on vacation and be, completely disconnected from work. Like this little thing right here, it's like you can't live with it. You can't live without it. I think this is a bad thing.
The work one though. That's
That's person. I mean,
That's person by person.
I don't.
Well,
I
I
don't.
have no I
it's
have no
it's a
issue
culture
in the
thing.
world. I have
Me
no issue
either.
in the world telling people to fuck off when I'm on vacation.
Well,
No issue in the world.
it
And if
depends
you
on
have someone
your
who
role
if
though.
you yeah, but if you have someone who like can't do that and you're not okay with that, then you're in the wrong role. Like
Yeah, I get it. Well, yeah, but
so to me, I have always said that my vacation is family time.
yeah,
Or if I'm with the boys, it's the boy, my vacation is for my time to do me things with the people who I want to be with.
yeah,
I
yeah.
will never, ever, 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 ever let a job consume me on vacation. That's what vacation is.
I agree
So
100%. I
if
do.
you're in a job where you're like, man, they need me so much, I can't just take this vacation, but it's driving me nuts because I want a vacation and be, then you're in the wrong job, man. You can't sit there. You control your email. No one else controls your email. And at the end of the day, I can almost guarantee probably 90 to 95% of people who are like, my God, they need me at my job today because I can't, I know I'm on vacation, but they need 90 to 95% of those people, their jobs would probably go on if they didn't answer that email. Like the,
So
the day
I
will
agree with you
still go
mostly.
on.
I agree with you mostly. I don't want to get us down a rabbit hole, but I think like even though I brought this up, I agree with you mostly. I think it depends on the corporate culture that you're a part of. So my first job, I remember this one guy, he went on vacation, and our manager at the time, who was, I mean, a very toxic manager, but so maybe it's coming from that place too. But I remember them saying, I'm just so surprised he's never checking his email. At that place where that I was at, that culture, I remember going away and getting all these texts, getting all these emails, people saying, hey, when you get back, we need to do this. And like, so culturally, it was hard to disconnect. Funniest thing was, though, I was making the least amount of money in my career at that job, but there was really high expectations. Now I'm in a different stage of my career. And I will say the corporate culture I'm a part of now, people are very vocal about saying disconnect, because if you don't, you get burned out, go take vacation and things like that. So the culture now does promote a good work-life balance. With that said, depending on the role that you're in, the position you're in, and your fiduciary responsibilities and like, things like that, right? Fiscal responsibilities, while you might be on vacation, to be completely offline for a week when you're at a certain level and you have certain responsibilities, I personally think it's probably impossible, and it's a little unfair to some of the other people that, I'm not going to say depend on you, but your actions or lack of action might affect them. So I agree with you like
I mean, I
95%.
like, I think that at the look, vacations, yes, okay. We all get them, or we should, but at the same time, like, you have to be knowledgeable. If I'm going to take a chunk of time off here, I need to do X, Y, and Z before I go to cover my bases. And when I
Yeah.
get back, I'm going to have to make up on ABC. So if you can't take care of all that, either the person who approved your vacation probably shouldn't have approved your vacation because clearly you
Yeah.
can't leave that situation, or you aren't prioritizing things properly and getting your ducks all in a row to go on this vacation. Like,
Yeah. And again, it
I have a
depends on the
very
role.
big issue when someone tells me I'm dealing with work even though I'm on vacation. Are you though? Or did someone say, like you said earlier, when you were like, they would text you and text me and be like, hey, when you get back, I need you to do this. Okay, cool. I'm not even going to respond to that. Why would I even? I don't care. I'm on vacation. We'll talk about it
Yeah.
when I get. I wouldn't even
Yeah.
respond to that.
That honestly
Like,
was a complete violation of
I think
like,
it's very much and again, this all does work till the digital thing that we're talking about is, and you can transition to that to like everybody who's worked from home now, and people are like, God, I never leave the office because I'm work from home. Okay,
hmm,
but you
yeah.
can. it
Well,
it
let's
is
kind of,
possible.
I do
let's,
agree with Rich. So I think it's very career dependent and role dependent.
yeah. Sales
Being
job, you
able to
can't just be
disconnect,
offline.
or
Yeah.
or
So,
or you're a fucking executive at a company and you have to
yeah.
approve purchase orders or something like that, and there's
Oh
Yep.
no,
a rush
I'm
purchase
not
order that
saying
has
that
to go
everyone can
through.
do that. I'm saying I don't like when people complain that they're doing work when they're not at work, when they have the ability to turn it
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. That's
I'm not
some
saying
people.
everybody can turn it off. What I'm saying is people who can turn it off, which 90 to 95% of the people who complain about having to do work when they're not at work could turn it off, and nothing would change.
I
The
agree. I
world would
agree.
still
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
around.
I
I
You
think it's
agree.
just want
probably
to
less than that.
complain. You
I think
just
it's
want to
a
complain
I think
that the
that's
world is going
hard to
around.
throw a number at, but I think it's probably less than 99.
But I get your sentiment there. I think, look, there's people that also say that they're working all the time on vacation. Like, there's somebody that I've worked with, and they're always like, "Oh, I can't take vacation because people are just like nonstop." And I'm like thinking, not at not at this place. I doubt it. Oh, I worked all these hours and this and that. No, you didn't. Like, but I think so. Some people just do it to like try and I don't know if virtue signals like
Seem
the right word
important
for it.
at their
Yeah,
career.
just seem important. Seem like they're really working really like super hard. So there's some of that. But I think here's sort of my evolution. And again, maybe this kind of fits in this conversation overall. It's like I used to be so growing up cutting my teeth in New York City, being in advertising and all that kind of stuff, right? Like that's a crazy industry. It's a fun industry, but it's crazy. It's a lot of hours. Like that's your life. And maybe that's part of the culture of like New York and all that too. So I used to be very bad at taking vacations. I was very bad at taking vacations until actually pretty recently in the last like couple of years. I was really bad at taking vacations. Like I had to be basically told, yo, you need to go on a vacation. Hey, we need to go on a vacation. And I would take like 1 week a year, maybe two long weekends, and then like it would be like Christmas break, right? So it didn't take a lot of time off. Finally said, you know what? Like I'm not living my life for me. I'm stressed out. I'm gonna start taking a vacation because I have vacations. And to your point, Seth, like life will go on. And if they don't like it, there's other jobs out there, but there's not more lives out there. I'm gonna do me, right? And my family. So start taking vacations. But when I was on vacation, I was still bad about not about completely disconnecting. Then the next step was to build on that was then turning all the notifications off of my email, like whether it was Microsoft Teams or whatever, Google Hangouts or whatever the hell it was, right? Like turn the notifications off. So then it was if shit's really hitting the fan, then call or text me. Okay. And that was super uncomfortable and still is pretty uncomfortable to be completely disconnected, especially given some of the responsibilities that I have. But if it's a emergency, call or text. Um, and again, my culture has been very good about supporting me when I'm on vacation. So I'm in a much better place that way. Also working from home, you do have to get to the point of like I had my gaming PC in my office. So like my fun time was also where I worked. But you have to be able to disconnect some things and like get to a point of like when those doors close or when a certain point of time hits, it's 5:30, 6 o'clock, you're done with your work, get offline and like just spend time with, either the family
Well,
or you guys.
I also think that people forget like this if you're going to continue to do work for this company when you shouldn't be, they're going to continue to give you the work, right? Why wouldn't they? They're not paying for your extra time. So you need to advocate for yourself. My last job, and I can tell you pretty truthfully, I'm pretty sure it's why things started to go south the way they went south is because I had a bunch of vacation time because I didn't take any vacation when I started because I was afraid to.
Yeah.
And then it was pointed out to me that the tide was changing and people need to start marking vacation time, but take your vacation days. So I did up all my numbers and I showed that I had a massive amount. So I was like, all right, here's my vacation days. And then all of a sudden, in a move that had never happened in the department and still does not happen anywhere in the department, I had to formally request my vacation days, which I then did because, again, I'm advocating for myself and I'm telling you, these are my vacation days. I'm taking them. And that's when things started the downturn for me. And I think it's a very toxic thing that happens in the workplace and has happened more with the shift to remote work is that companies they're going to roll they're going to continue to give you the work, right? And if you continue to do it in the off hours, then it's not going to change. But if you sit there and tell them like it's 5:30, if we were in the office, I'd be going home by now. So like stop giving me
Yeah.
work after that.
Yep.
So
Again,
it's
it's the setting though, because I think here's one thing: to climb the corporate ladder, you got to put the hours in. You got to be a hard
Oh,
worker.
there's no doubt about it. Absolutely. I'm not saying you don't. And but again, like I'm more on the line, like if you want to do that, that's fine.
Yeah,
But
it's what you value.
I also don't want to listen to people bitch who are like, I'm just always on my phone, man. I can't disconnect from work. Like I have to be
Yeah.
you choose that. Like you choose that. I
Well,
understand that to get up in your
you
line.
choose to re-engage, but you don't choose if you get that phone call or that text.
Yeah, I mean,
Right.
I'm online from 8 to 4 every day. That's it.
But you choose if you answer
That's
that call or text, respond to that call or text,
yeah.
do an
You choose
action
that.
based on that call or text.
Yeah,
And
you
if you
choose
do,
that.
I'm not saying it's bad if you do. And I understand that certain people to move up in the world, they have to do that. But I also kind of can't feel bad for you if that's the life you choose. Like everybody chooses their job. Now, granted,
Yeah,
that might sound like a bad way to say it because certain people don't get to choose what they do. People are forced to do things to make a living. We all have to make money, but at the end of the day, you are choosing to do a job where you are getting involved this many hours. If you don't like it, change it. That's
yeah.
I'm not saying quit your job. I'm saying go try and find another one that isn't that. You
Yeah,
know?
I get you. Yeah. Just make sure if you're working all those hours, you're getting compensated for it. I would think,
Correct.
right?
And
That was
that's the
my
other thing.
my problem. My last employer, I was working 90-hour weeks and not getting compensated for it. Right?
Exactly. And the problem probably was they just would feed you the work and you do
Well,
it
it was
because
different. We were on a construction site and we had to be there for
yeah.
those 90 hours, 7 days a week sometimes. And at some during COVID, I was like the only fucking person in the country still working during COVID, 91 hours a week on site in Georgia. And I think that was kind of my waking up, like I need to get the fuck out of here.
Yeah, yeah, you gotta have that balance. But I think so Seth, I get your point, but I do think my initial point is with these things in your hand, whether you want to engage or not, you're almost as long as you have like LTE or whatever the hell, 5G,
People
you're
will try
always
and find
connected
you.
in some
Yep.
way or another.
Oh,
It's always
absolutely.
Silence, don't respond.
You have to, dude. I mean, I've also sometimes I
Again,
use
though,
my
it
phone
goes
in
back
my.
to, do you have to? If someone from work were to call you right now and you didn't answer, would you be fired tomorrow?
No, I think they would call back if it was like an emergency. But
Exactly.
it
So they
depends on
don't.
it depends on the culture because obviously that one manager was saying had a lot of shit to say about the one guy who went away on vacation with his family. It was okay when they went away on vacation and no one no one hit him up when they left the office early every
But
day.
again, if you are at a job and on day one they tell you you get 14 vacation days and you take those 14 vacation days, no more, no less, you've gotten them all approved and you go
Yeah,
and they fire you because of it, or they mistreat you because of it, or they try and make you work because of it, you can
Yeah.
sue them. You can get compensated for it because it's not a vacation day if you're working. So is it, oh man, that this job is really beating me up and I can't do it? Or is it, I don't want to be that guy? That's
yeah.
like, I
I mean,
get it.
there's
I
a
do.
lot
I
of
get it.
there's a lot of variables, but I think ultimately you're just always so connected and when you're connected, right? Like you're not like you still have a foot in your other life. And when you're on vacation, you just want to like I remember going like Disney World as a kid. And like the one thing about going to Disney World was like you really did feel like you were completely disconnected from the rest of society for a week. And again, I didn't have a cell phone, my dad didn't have a cell phone, nobody had a cell phone. And I guess that's to me like the most ideal vacation. Now, when I'm on vacation and I get like a ping or something like that, I might not always respond. And I'm not really talking about my current job because again, the corporate culture I'm at now is honestly it's great. But like I might not have always responded right away to those things. But man, sometimes it pissed me off and like ruin my mood. Why? Because it's like I'm on vacation and you still are
See?
choosing to like
And
harass me about shit
that's
like
why,
this.
like Tyler said, silence.
You have
Bye.
to. You have to.
Bye.
Yeah.
Don't,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, I used to go on airplane mode, but then when I would turn it back on, it was like
Oh, see, I remember. So when we went to Greece for my honeymoon, we put the data on my phone because we needed one phone that could get us access to maps and things like that. And
yeah.
obviously, it was an emergency to contact people in America. But I straight up deleted the Gmail app. Forget turning off notifications. I straight up deleted it because I didn't want to see a single fucking email.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, for me, because I remember being like, I was on a vacation in like Cali and it was like not even going through email. It was just like straight up calling or like texting me like directly, like a lot of texts. And it was just like, it was stupid questions that people could have figured out. Like, where is this on the server? It's like, come on now.
Yeah, I would have got ignored that unless it was important.
But you see it. No, I think like I waited a while. And then when I finally got something that said like, when you get back, we have to do this. I just went, okay. Like
Did you need to tell me that right now?
when I get back. Yeah. Like, why are
Right.
you telling me
Like,
this while
why
I'm
are
on
you
vacation?
telling exactly?
When I get back, tell me when I get back. But again, it does come down to culture. It comes down to responsibility. There's a lot of variables, but I do think that these things are so connected, which to kind of also kind of stay on topic here, but sort of shift away. I went to see
Porn
Drake. I
is
went to see
bad.
Drake, right?
Got it.
Okay, porn's bad. Net is porn's bad. Went to see Drake last week, right? And noticed the people in the crowd. Dude, we're in a good section, right? I think I talked about like I paid a pretty penny to go see him because she's like a huge fan and all that. We're in a good section. There's all these young people around us. He's on stage. What are they doing? They're taking fucking videos of themselves like dancing, like these young girls like dancing like with the camera like facing them. And it's like, what are you doing? You paid all this money to see him
There was
in
Italian
person.
accent in there.
Yeah, he had the hand going. You just
What are
couldn't
you
see it.
doing?
You
Because I'm
just
getting
couldn't see
annoyed.
it.
I don't know. You
about it.
sound old and grumpy right now. That's why I want.
You do.
I
honest.
am.
You
But
sound
it's
a
like
bit of an
But that's
old
just
light.
people having
I'm a
fun. I
curmudgeon.
mean,
I'm a curmudgeon. Yeah,
people
but
have
dude,
fun
it's like
different ways.
That's
Bro,
my
that's
point,
just
though.
how
It's
they
like
have fun.
everything revolves around this. Yeah, it's fucked up, dude. It's fucked up.
I mean,
I
you
mean, I
have
think,
fun in different ways, right?
yeah, I think people do experiences in
Got to be in the
different
moment,
ways.
though. Dude,
Like,
I took my phone out 3 times during the concert. That was it. It was to literally see what time it was.
right, but you also, why was it getting late for Grandpa? Was that
Was
it?
getting late. No, it's because I knew that he's got the curfew. So I'm like, okay, like he's only gone through like how many more songs
He
or how
is
much longer is
literally
he gonna
counting
go?
down. Look at him. He
Yeah,
was counting down
he
like
was.
a
It sounds like
grandpa.
he was a grumpy old man at this concert.
It
Is what I'm
does.
hearing.
Did you
No,
stand there with your
fuck you
arms
guys.
crossed the whole time?
No, I
Just
had a
like
lot. I
that?
no, no, no. I had a lot
Were
of
you
fun, but
singing
I
the
was
best I
like,
ever had? The best I ever had.
yeah, I think he sang that. No, because it was like 21 Savage hadn't come out yet, and I was like,
Oh,
okay,
21.
curfew's at this time. He only has like 15 minutes, so is he gonna go over or not? So that's why I was like checking because I was like, he's not come out yet. Like, so that's why I was checking. No, I had a blast, but like I also watched him, and I could
So
remember what it was like to
honestly,
be in the moment watching
so
him.
this kind of goes back to not really digital, but more of what we were talking about with the people arguing about things in life is like uh, you being angry at people for videoing themselves at a concert. Just live you, man. Just do what you're doing at a concert.
No, I
If
get
people
you.
are
I
going to
get you
do
though.
that, they're going to do that. Do
I
you
get
think
what
that
you're
it's
saying.
do you think it's kind of stupid? Yeah. But like let them do it, man. If they're going to do it, whatever. It's not going to change my night at all. I'm going to enjoy
I
my
get what you're
time.
saying. I get what you're saying, but here's the thing, right? When I look at this young generation, I honestly think that
Well,
all
they
the
have
things
to
we talked
document
about.
everything.
Well, that's the thing, dude. It's like but here's the thing. I
But they
feel in a lot of
can.
ways.
But they can
I feel in a lot
document
of ways
I,
things were
everything.
stolen from them, and they
do
were
you think
stolen from them for
so?
like
Do you think that
monetization
do you think
reasons.
that that
At the
generation
end
is
of the
going to
day,
have better memories of their childhood or worse memories of their
I think they're
childhood?
worse,
going to be able
dude.
to. I don't know. I
Well,
think
I
they're
don't
going to
know.
be able
It
to look
depends on the
back and
kid.
They're
I think
going to
they're going
be
to be
able
able to
to
look
look
back.
back and see it.
It's all going to
But
be. It's all going
bro,
to
if
come
you don't
back.
remember, you,
I think that they're going to have a broader expanse of memories. So like
I don't remember shit before I was 10.
personally, I don't remember much from my
I feel
childhood.
like I do,
There's
but I'm
we'll
also a
dive into
memory
that
kid.
another
Yeah.
time. But like but like I think that I don't think they're going to have the vividness in the memory. I think they're going to have more memories, but they're not going to have the vividness in the memories that we have in certain
Because they're not
things.
in the moment. You
Like
mean or
you ever go outside on like a summer day where it's not hazy and humid, it just like it smells really fresh out there, and you
yes,
think back to a certain day when you were like 6 years old.
all the time, dude. The
Like
sound of the bugs sometimes in the
I
summer.
don't think that kids are going to be able to do that, but I think kids are going to be able to tell you about their first trip to Disney because they can see pictures of it. Like and it's not going to be like oh yeah, I was at Disney when I was 4. They're going to be like, oh yeah, I do remember going on this ride when I was 4 years old. Like I think that's going to be the aspect of it. I think that we have much more of like a vivid memory set of things. We just don't have as many memories. I think they're going to have a lot more memories, but they're not going to be as vivid and they're not going to be recalled the same or as
Yeah,
easily.
that I get what you're saying. I just think like the reason I get upset is because I do feel like again we had the perfect time to grow up, but I think a lot of I don't want to sound dramatic and say like their childhood was stolen because it wasn't stolen, but I do think like the effect of the things that we're saying today are net. We can see them as net negative. I think we're all in agreement there. These things are net negative. The reason we can actually see that they were net negative is because we remember a time without it. To them, this is normal. And so
Yeah,
they
but I
actually
mean,
don't understand what is done to them.
we also see the, and I hope this gets a chuckle out of Tyler. I think it will. We see what the fallout or what the um side effects are 10 years later, 15 years later, 20 years later, right? When we were a kid, 20 years later, we see what's gone on. They don't know in 20 years from now, maybe in 20 years from now, these kids are going to make us look like we're fucking dum-dums because they've had that experience at their
Yeah, they
fingertips.
might.
We
They
won't be
might,
able to
right?
know.
And I'm
We won't
sure
be able to
previous
know.
generations said the
And I'm
same shit
sure they
about
will.
us.
Exactly.
Like previous
Well,
Exactly.
100%,
color
100%. Dude.
TV and all this shit's gonna ruin their lives, and all these TV shows are gonna ruin their lives. And maybe it has a little bit, but honestly, would you trade it? I don't think so. We all fucking watch TV every day.
But we were so much more social though, dude. Like we used to watch TV with people at their houses as a
Bro,
family.
and the people before us didn't have TV, right? And they
No,
were
but they used,
much more social then
but
too.
they
I
used to
mean, I
listen
do
to the
think though,
radio
but
with each other. Like there's a social
and
aspect. Now
yes,
these
it's a
kids are like in the room on their phone. Dude, there's people on fucking dates and they're on dates and they're on their phones in front of each other. It's like,
They
what are
Do
haven't
you
you
met
think
they haven't
doing?
met the right person yet.
there's
Yeah,
still
maybe
you still
yeah.
got to swipe, bro? You still got to swipe,
Yo, I gotta
Keep
get some
options
water.
open.
I gotta get some water real
Keep
fast.
your
I'm
options
fucking dying
open.
right here. I'll be right back. Hey.
Yeah. All right. So I think to kind of cap it off, the point I was trying to make was kind of the segue there is these things in our pockets and always in like our hands, especially the younger generations. I think we're always connected. I think people have sort of poured themselves into these devices and social media. Their identities are social media and Snapchat, all these kinds of things, right? That make up social media. Um, it's integral to people's identities today. And I think I think Seth, you made the point before. There's like what happens in real life every day, and then there's like your perfect life that you try and portray on social media. So like when I'm saying that these young kids are at these concerts, they're just kind of filming themselves the whole time and not living in the moment. I think, and again, not to sound, I don't want to sound dramatic to say it was stolen, but I do think that an older generation created something that we agree is net negative. And it went beyond what I think a lot of people ever expected it to go. And we can see it and we remember a time without it. But that monster that is social media in a lot of ways, again, there's some positive social media without a doubt, but a lot of these net negative things that we're seeing, the people that are paying the highest price are probably the younger generation, the cyberbullying, the unrealistic expectations and things like that, right? They're so I think that's why I get upset when I'm just like they're so connected. They're not living in the moment. There's vanity. There's a lot of things, mental health issues, and they're probably the ones that pay the highest price. And if you look at the data, and we're looking at like suicides and depression and things like that, eating disorders, right?
I mean,
That they're paying a high
isn't that
price.
isn't that life in a microcosm though? Like
Yeah, but everyone,
we're paying the high price of, our parents' generation beating the shit out of the environment in the 70s and 80s. You know, it's one of those
yeah,
things
that's
where
true. It's like never letting up.
so the hope is, right? We learned from those mistakes that our parents made, and so now
Yeah.
we're trying to better it. And so the hope is that the downside of social media is learned about and made better as it moves on, right? We don't know what's going to happen in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years. We don't know how people are going to react to things in 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, you know? So the hope is once you do learn how there's a response to something, you correct it to make it for the better. And I
So
think that's really what it comes down. Yes, it's right now it is a net bad, but I feel like work on it. Don't just say it's a net bad and then move on. Like try and make it better. Try and figure
I'm
out
gonna
how to
become the
make it better.
CEO of. I'm gonna become the next CEO of. I'm gonna just
Want your
own
own
all of them
social media?
someday.
What if
Yeah,
what if
yeah.
so
Called Healthy Minds.
If Elon beats Zuck, you have to go beat Elon and then you can just be the CEO
Yeah, it's
of
like that
Twitter.
Bruce Lee movie where you have to fight your way up the tower to like the final boss. I think here's why I said I agree with you, right? So when you talk about our parent generation being the shit of the environment, right? I kind of like made a joke about there's no more lightning bugs, right? It's like
I just saw one, but continue.
there are still, but there's far less, right? And we look at like Scott's and some other companies that back in the day they've over time they paid millions of millions and millions and millions of dollars on advertisements to make you think that you have to have this perfectly lush green lawn. And in order to do that, 3 times a year you put down some sort of fertilizer, weed killer, grub killer, and things like that, right? These pesticides, or I think there's some other side, which I'm blanking on the name for it. But basically, I used it one time in a small section of grass. Then all of a sudden, every other little insect in that area of lawn, other than the one I was trying to kill that was underneath it, started running out into the sidewalk and dying. My point is this: we know these things are bad. We know they're taking a toll on the environment, and it's like when we were kids, there were so many more fireflies. It seems like, right? The reason that these things become perpetuated and that these large companies get slapped on the wrist. Basically, they pay millions of dollars, but they keep going on. We never get really draconian on them. It comes down to money. And then because it's industry, it's economy and things like that, right? When we talk about urban sprawls down in like Charleston, South Carolina now, there's like the Carolina frog. They're worried about that because they're building all these things. But do you want to lose a species or do you want to lose tax revenue? Unfortunately, people always decide it's money. Now with social media, part of the reason why, or probably the reason why, it went far beyond and became this like monster was because they monetized it. All right. And then corporations got involved. It comes down to money. So I do think while there are a responsibility for us to try and make it better for the next generation, the biggest impediment to doing that is the fact that there's millions and millions, and we're talking about multi-billion-dollar industries at this point. People will always get in the way of probably what's right because they're incentivized by keeping it going because of money. Anyway, all right, so let's do a quick recap here. All right, so we talked about social media. We talked about that being good or bad. We talked about porn in the palm of your hand being bad. We talked about digital currency. We talked about the generations living in the moment or not living in the moment. Shift towards digital. Net social media. We thought was negative, was the net. Okay.
Yep.
Correct.
Porn in the palm of your hand. Did we even come to an agreement on that, or did we say net?
I think
net was
net negative.
We
I think we
agreed
said.
that negative on that one too.
it's fun, but net is negative. All right, boys, another good one in the books. I actually think this one, even though it's long,
Yo,
probably
hit him with
less editing.
hit him with the tags. Where are we at? Where are we at with socials? So people can find us.
What?
Twitter. What's our
you got tie runs.
No. I mean, what is our
I honestly don't remember, to be honest with you.
I don't
that's
either.
right.
That's why I asked.
We got to get better at this. We got to
Yeah,
get better.
so
at
we'll
this.
do it
Wait,
on the
let me
next
look
one.
it up.
We'll add it. It's fine.
I'll look it up right now. I'll go on my. Hang on, I got to make the light on my phone red so I don't mess up my.
Good call. Good
circadian
call.
rhythm.
Good call.
All right, so YouTube, we are at
Three RoOs
Three
Podcast?
RoOs Podcast. Smash it. Hit that like button, smash that subscribe button. Then we are on Spotify. We are
Three RoOs
Like I s-
podcast.
Three RoOs Podcast.
we are Three RoOs Podcast. So we're Three RoOs Podcast. Just check out Three RoOs Podcast.
Hit that subscribe.
Yeah, and then when we create RoO Coin, I'd appreciate if everybody just lives their life around RoO Coin.
Yeah, we're
Yeah,
not going to keep most of the supply and then dump on you guys. We promise.
We'll drop 20 billion root coin.
We're
and you
idealists. We're trying to create a utopian
can-
society.
Jesus Christ.
You can trust us.
All right, boys.
All right, fellas, it was fun. I'll text you right after.
No, I'm going to sleep, remember?
I'm going to read and have dreams about. I've been reading about the Gaelic War by Julius Caesar, and I feel like every night before I read, as I read before I go to bed, in my dream I have some sort of like dream of I'm in like a lion battle.
Yeah, that
I'll tell you
tracks.
so- yeah, it tracks.
That tracks.
Dude, you didn't answer me the other day. Remember when I woke up?
Yeah, I forgot.
Justin. Tyler, did you read that text?
What?
Dude,
I used to play
playing
this game, Rome Total War.
much?
I played so much Rome Total War in college that I was sleeping one night and everybody was up in the room. And I guess I had a dream that there was a battle. And I really woke up. I got out of bed, like I like sat up and I started yelling at Justin. I was like, Justin, there's a gap in their lines, send in their infantry. And like yelling at him, like, no, there's a gap in their lines, send in your fucking infantry. I was getting like pissed off. And then I think like I sort of came to because everyone's like, dude, go to bed. You're sleeping, go to bed. I'm like, huh? And they like told me what happened.
That was also like, I mean, it weird shit happened. Justin also, remember he yelled about WoW in his sleep one night.
Do you remember
you
when he
not
did
there?
this? Remember when he did the southern accent? In
Yeah.
his
What?
sleep? He did like a southern accent in his sleep. Side story.
Yeah.
He did like a funny southern accent in his sleep. Anyway, all right, guys.
All right, I'm
All
leaving.
right,
Good night.
another good one.
Yep.
Catch you guys later.
Yep. Bye.